Start the recording. Okay. Welcome, guys. Thank you again for returning to my little corner of the internet. This is session 7, but technically our eighth, session. I don't really have any announcements aside for one thing. Apparently, the Navy base I live next to is doing day ops for the next couple weeks. So if you guys pick up any jet noise on my end, I will apologize for that. The other thing of note, sorry, I actually had two. The other thing of note is that today will be mostly character centric. As I kind of teased in the chat, I do have a little bit of an adventure if it gets to the point where you guys are just like, I don't know what to do. But it will be largely a big opportunity for you guys to RP with each other, to RP with your supporting characters, and so on. But unless anyone has any announcements of their own, I think we're ready for the captain's log.
Captain's log, stardate 48579.4. Our first contact with the Enthusians is now 2 weeks behind us. Admiral Haru sent an ambassadorial team along the Bellerophon to meet with them. It is my hope that the Enthusians will make the right decisions and not enslave the very sentient life that they have created unintentionally. Our mission aboard the Arcadia, however, is going quite well. We've charted several sectors for the first time and are now the first Federation explorers to travel this far into the Shackleton Expanse. Even at maximum warp, we are a week from Narendra Station. If needed, there are several nearby D-class planets should we need to resupply on raw materials. At the moment, my downtime provides an excellent opportunity to better know my crew.
All right, very good. So very true to the captain's words, all of you find yourselves with a pretty hefty amount of downtime as the Arcadia travels between sectors. And as I said, you pretty much can do almost whatever you like. Most of the crew itself has taken to arranging holodeck times, movie nights, music performances, and stuff like that. The question becomes, how do each of you fit into all of this? And I'm just going to open the floor. Whoever would like to go, just, speak up.
Commander Crow would probably, just on the safe side and part of his old training for being tactical, would probably do some drills with the security officers and teams, and go over, different countermeasures and stuff like that. And also, weekly, since it's been 2 weeks, he started doing his first weekly training with any officers that want to partake in hand-to-hand combat.
Okay. So for that, I'll say that you're training with the security officers. You'll get to know Ensign Los and Ensign Rouge a little bit better. Ensign Los is the Bajoran, and Ensign Rouge is the Cation. I'll say in general, your training goes about as well as it can be expected for an on-ship training. Were you possibly using the holodeck for this, or were you just using the corridors as they are available?
Corridors for like runs and stuff like that, and then the holodeck, or if there's any room for like a little training room to be set up or utilized.
Well, there is if I remember the diagram correctly, I believe it's either deck 7 or deck 8. There is indeed a workout room. Yes, it's deck 7.
Yeah. So.
And you could possibly use that for your training, or you could use the holodeck. But otherwise, yeah, you can just pretty much use what's available for you.
I'd probably use deck 7 for the hand-to-hand, and then any range testing would be the holodeck.
Okay. So tell me more about this training that you just, very briefly, what sort of areas or tasks are you covering with this training?
Physical training, making sure everyone is physically fit.
Okay.
Making sure that their endurance is pushed a little harder. Hand-to-hand combat against multiple potential foes. How to disarm and quickly shove your target down to the ground and keep them contained. And then range training, lethal to non-lethal training on that as well.
Okay. Um, what I'll say here, just go ahead and roll me a 1d100, and I'll flavor the results appropriately.
100. Oof.
32. Um, so the training goes off without a hitch. You don't have anyone under your command sustain any injuries that Dore can't fix. Probably the most egregious of injuries is maybe a dislocated shoulder. So good job there. Um, I will say that Ensign Los shows a little bit of promise when it comes to uh, multiple opponents attacking him at once. And if pressed, he'll simply say, well, sir. During the occupation, it was we learned such skills in the occupation camps.
Good to know. Maybe you can write me up with some reports on some of the tactics that you use, and we can see what we can work into our training.
Well, it was mostly guerrilla warfare, as most things on Major were at the time. But if you would be interested in reading it, I can certainly come up with something.
Definitely.
All right. So Ensign Los will get to writing a report about his time during the occupation. Um, is there anything else you want to do at this current time? Like anything with a specific NPC, or should I open the floor and let the others go?
We can open the floor for the others.
Okay. So again, floor's open. Would anyone like to do anything in particular?
Matic will be working on a secret project.
Okay. Um, this secret project, are you rebuilding from your memory the project from before, or is it something else entirely?
Um, I mean, I kept that secret data log, so I guess I tried to rebuild it, but make it better.
Okay. I'll say the last one took you a good. I think I calculated it out to be like a month and a half before it was in a working state. So you're able to make some quicker progress since you've already built this thing before, but you're still very far off, probably a good 3 weeks before you'll be able to start activating it, kind of a thing.
All right. I guess I'm also gonna be attending Crowley's trainings. Just
Okay.
something to do.
Why don't you roll me a daring plus security? We'll call it difficulty one, and this will just represent how you handle the melee combat that would come up. Okay. So you're not an official security officer, but you managed to hold your own. Um, it's one of those things where Crowley's probably able to teach you a few things, um, maybe a few finer points of how to disarm your opponent, that sort of thing. But as I said, it's one of those things where you don't make any waves, but you also don't cause any undue attention to be drawn to yourself.
All right.
But yeah, anything else?
Um, if no one else wants to say anything, I will say that Crowley also familiarizes himself with any projects going aboard the ship, and any research being done. He just wants to get as much knowledge as he can about everyone here, so he knows if he needs to reassign anyone to help basically put his aces in his holes, pretty much.
Understandable. Um, you'll learn that astrometrics and stellar cartography, really they're the same thing. But anyway, they have been working diligently, almost around the clock, simply to get through all of the data from the sectors you've scanned up to this point. Um, Chief Hylong is mostly letting those under her do that sort of thing, and she's providing assistance where necessary. But I would think you specifically would get a report from Ensign Orty, the other Bajoran science officer that you have on board, requesting a good chunk of time on the main sensor array.
Who else would require the sensor array?
Well, there are other labs. They're mostly geared towards planetary research. Um, but it would be one of those things where you would still keep like a small amount in reserve for the bridge for, like tactical readiness and to make sure you don't run into anything.
Yeah.
But the sensors, as they aren't really being used to their full potential at the moment. So they could squeeze in very easily into this slot. It's just one of those protocol things where they have to ask first.
Alright, I'll set it up so that if planetary scans or like no planetary objects are nearby, he can gain a little bit more time, and he can squeeze in as well with what we can spare him. But in between systems, sensors, he can have a larger chunk.
Okay.
If he's not needing it for anything else besides that. But the moment we come into planetary range of something, then they allow time to go back and forth to what you were.
Okay. So you, as you say, you figure out a inadequate solution to your problem. It'll probably be one of those things where simply because of the way the Expanse works, the lab under Orty's purview is going to probably be on the sensors about 55% of the time, with the other labs taking up somewhere between 35 and 40%, and then they have that 5 to 10 range for the bridge operations.
Alright. I also submit what I'm doing to the captain as well to keep him informed.
Okay.
And how many rotating shifts are there? Is it just like morning crew, night crew, or is it like 3 shifts, like alpha, beta?
That is actually something you as the XO can set as a standard. Up to this point, it has been alpha, beta, but if you wish to have more shifts, that can certainly be arranged.
No, that should be good.
Okay. One other thing I'll say is during your time in your office, whenever you're in there, Ensign Rouge will come on in and he'll stand across from you and he'll say, "Sir, I wanted to make a personal request of you, if that's all right."
Go ahead.
Well, as you know, we've been holding movie night in the mess lounge, but I believe I've found a better space for it.
Continue.
Well, as you know, the Arcadia does indeed have a fully equipped briefing room located on Deck 3, and since we don't really have any tactical operations going on at the moment, I simply would like to request use of such facilities.
Briefing room, hey?
Say again?
The briefing room.
Yes.
It should be fine, but I want it to be cleared in a moment's notice if something is needed with it.
Understandable. I will say, sir, that if you are interested at all in Cation drama, the movie I have in mind for the inaugural showing is Casablanca.
I slowly raise an eyebrow like a Vulcan does. And my face just kind of goes stone-like, and I was like, "Thank you for the invitation. I will consider it."
Of course, sir. And you get the sense, just looking at him, like he was prepared to sell the movie, but since you're not like asking questions, he's just like, "Oh."
Anything else?
I don't believe so, sir. Thank you again for letting us use the briefing room.
No worries. And good performance on your training with me. Keep it up.
Yes,
Dismissed.
sir. And then then Rouge will walk out. Maddock, I heard you there for a second.
How long did it take you to come up with that?
What, Keisha Blanca? I
Yeah.
basically went through a list of classic movies, and I was like, what can I sneak the Cation word into? Ah, there we go.
Oh man.
And now, Crowley's not that well diverse in human culture and movies and stuff like that, but he does realize when someone's shoehorning their name into something. He's like, nope. Not too sure how that's gonna go, but he's like, no, I'm good.
Okay, so I would say that all of you would receive a semi-unformal or a mostly informal invitation to movie night now that it's been moved to a more official location instead of just a couple of guys or a couple of gals or so forth in the mess lounge whenever they have time. It's currently planned for during beta shift. So I would say most, if not all of you, would be off duty if you decide to attend movie night.
So I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Vulcans have, even half Vulcans have very good endurance for staying up a lot longer than normal. Like humans and stuff like that. They're like, we saw Tuvok stay awake for how many days straight in Voyager at one point in time?
Quite a lot.
With Crowley being a half, I don't expect him to be as able to go that long, but with him wanting to get familiar with the ship, he would probably spend whatever free time he had aside from training, probably doing triple shifts. Alpha, beta, back to alpha, then he'd take one beta off.
Okay.
He'd probably be... So everyone would see him on the bridge a lot for the first little bit.
Understandable. Why don't we have you roll me a fitness plus con or a fitness plus command?
Alright.
And
See
we'll
how long
say
he
the
stays awake.
difficulty here will be 2.
Can I use a focus of composure?
Yeah, that'll apply. Since that's mostly what this task is going to be anyway. Okay, so a success and a complication. 2 successes and a complication. I'll say you are certainly able to pull triple shifts, but the complication is you're having to do it without the reliance on Ractagino or Vulcan mochas or any sort of energy drink. And the reason for that being is, we'll say, due to your unique biology, such energy supplements would throw off your biochemistry balance, and pretty much, like, I imagine these are like 26-hour days kind of a thing. So if you were to start using, these supplements, it would make it extremely hard for you to be punctual kind of a thing. So I would say probably the last few hours of your second alpha shift are going to be pretty rough. But you didn't roll 2 complications, so you're able to tough through them no problem.
I probably get a little more cold and distant. I was like, I need to stay awake right now.
Very good. Anything else?
No. Not that I can think of. I don't know. Oh, I have passed a note on to every officer on the bridge, though, that if they would like to come and talk with me about anything, that they can, in terms of duty, responsibilities, and personnel stuff like that. I'm leaving the door very open.
Okay. Yeah, we can do that. I'm just making a note here. Okay. Let's open the floor to either Rochelle or the captain, since we haven't heard from them yet.
Yeah, I'll take up that offer to meet with Crowley.
All right. So, where's this meeting going to happen? In his office or your office?
Let's do it in the conference room.
In the conference room. Okay.
Oh, where's that at? I'm looking at the diagram.
I'll shift ping in a second.
It's on deck 1.
Oh, there it is.
Yep. Shift ping. Right there.
I walk on in. Hello, Captain.
Hello, Commander. I see I found you on one of your few shifts not on duty.
Yeah, a lot to catch up on. You guys had a pretty interesting voyage so far.
Well, I would have to agree with you there. How are you holding up with these long shifts?
Decent. Once I feel like I'm caught up, I will be going probably down to the normal alpha shift.
Fair enough. Well, as long as Dr. Dore says you're okay, it's fine with me.
Right. Still haven't checked in with him. Not completely, anyways. That's on my list of things to do.
Well, make sure you do that before in the next day or so. But I noticed you also had been running a lot of physical drills and with the crew. How are those going along?
Good. A couple of the security officers are showing promise. One of them is writing up on some tactics that have been used in the Bajoran occupation. And
Would that be instant lows?
yes.
Okay, it's an excellent idea.
Yeah, I don't expect us to run into any trouble out here, but it is unknown. It is always good to be prepared.
Absolutely.
And also to help with morale, the vacation Rouge has decided to set up a more official location for movie night. I gave him permission to use the briefing room on deck 3, as long as it is able to be cleaned up within a moment's notice.
I think that's also an excellent idea. I'd heard from the crew that your regiments had been mostly based on exceeding personal goals. Is that correct? Yes.
It's always good to push oneself to a higher goal, a higher point of where you're at. It's as long as I'm not going to be pushing anyone to something uncomfortable, though. I don't want to induce any harm to anyone. As you probably saw, there was an injury, but I've adjusted my regiment for them.
No, I hadn't caught notice of that, but if it were, I assume that means it was mended by the doctor.
Yes, it was just a dislocated shoulder on one of the security officers.
Excellent. Well, this is your department, so you have the leeway here, but I had a suggestion, if you'd like to take it.
Mm-hmm.
During my academy days back on Earth, I found Earth's team sports history to be quite interesting. And I believe this might be an interesting way for us to do some team building along the ship. Maybe not Parisi squares. I know that's a bit dangerous, and we want to keep our men and women physically fit, but I think it might be good to relieve some stress among the crew, as well as implore good team worksmanship and physical fitness as well.
Well, one possible idea is there was a game I was fond of on Earth when I was growing up there. Capture the Flag. I had a lot of fun with that. I'm not... I wasn't always playing fair. I'm able to, of course, pick up emotions. I used it as a radar in a way to know when the team was nearby. So, gave myself a little unfair advantage, but I was good at it. I'm sure I could set up a holodeck program for that, have 2 teams.
Well, that's certainly not the kind of thing that shows up in your service report.
Oh.
No, that sounds like an excellent idea. I'm sure the crew would love to get in on that.
I'll make sure that I'm not playing because I think it'll give them, whatever team I'm on, an unfair advantage.
Fair enough. Are you planning on going to any of the cultural performances along the Arcadia, in addition to any movie nights?
Well, I was invited to view a movie called Cation Blanca.
Yes, I've read some reviews on it. I think I might be passing it this time. Maybe next time.
I will send you regards to Ensign Rouge. I'll more likely attend just to have the crew get more familiar with seeing me.
All right. Well, I do plan on going to any musical performances. I cannot keep myself from those.
Oh, you like music? What's your taste?
I prefer ensemble pieces typically. Like quartets, any small ensembles like thin instrumentation.
Ah. I haven't practiced in a long time, and I probably sound awful, but I did enjoy the violin.
Oh, that's interesting. I'm not much of a musician myself, but I did study some a bit of music while at the academy a semester or so. But I've always found that on a small ship like the Arcadia, it's very similar in a way to a small ensemble. Everyone has a distinct part, but no two people have the same part. And if one person can't fulfill their role, there's not someone else to take over.
Mm. For me, it was the string instruments of Earth always held such emotion. You could hear a song on a violin, and you could tell it was a sad song. It could sound happy. It could sound angry. I stepped back from learning more because the pieces I would play would invoke such emotions from the audience that I would then sense, and in some ways it hampered my playing abilities. In other ways, it drastically made it more intense. So, it's something I've always wanted to get back into, and I think maybe when I've settled in a little more, I might take up training again.
Well, your free time is yours, of course, to spend however you wish. But yes, we would certainly love to have you perform or in the audience of any musical performances aboard the ship.
Yeah, I would love to know when these events are happening. I do enjoy all sorts of music.
Oh, excellent. Well, perhaps I will go see Caixa Blanca tonight. Don't think I have anything better to do.
Well, as I've always been told when I was growing up, make sure to get extra butter on the popcorn.
Popcorn?
Yes. Oh, it's something Earthlings love to have. It's corn that is heated up to the point where it pops into a little... It's basically mostly air. It's something that you eat when you watch a movie, though. It's a little snack, and they like to put
Commander?
butter on it.
I went to the academy in San Francisco, too. I'm messing with you.
Okay. It's been a while since I've had actual interactions without doctors and lab assistants, so it's nice.
Is it good to be back in duty aboard a ship?
Been 3 years in a medical room, have been poked at and prodded and had blood drawn and experimented on. Yes, it is great to be back out in the stars.
Yeah, I spent quite a while with around doctors. Not 3 years, but it's good to get out of a hospital gown. I'll admit that.
Although they had to pull me back a few times because I snuck out.
Yeah. Well, if you have any questions for me about anything you'd like to do aboard the ship, I am all ears.
I slowly raise an eyebrow. Like, are you making a reference?
Listening.
Oh, you're not making a... I'm just messing with you as well. If that's everything, Captain?
Yeah.
Good day.
Okay, very good. So you actually brought up a few interesting points that I believe will tie into Rasho's very interestingly. So Rasho, before I do ask a few questions of you, what are you up to?
Well, I mean, Rasho is going to obviously be doing his duty shifts, and I imagine that he would, like, if there's something specifically interesting going on, like he would stretch out his duty shift a little bit longer. Like if there's a particularly interesting nebula or anything like that that they were scanning, he'd go past the end of shift to help out with that. In his off hours, I guess he's going to be spending a lot of time. Well, he would be joining the commanders, hand-to-hand training as well.
Okay, let's have you do a daring plus security to see how you do.
Sure. I should actually pull up my character sheet, I suppose. One moment.
Oh, well, the difficulty was 1, so you guys get a momentum, whatever that actually means for this session. Yeah, you actually are able to show up some of the security personnel. It's actually rather impressive. In a fight between, like a 3-on-1 type fight, you're able to not only get down all 3, but you do so in like a flourishy, fancy type move that flips over one of your attackers into the other 2.
Hey, some aspects of martial arts are easier when you're not blindfolded. Imagine that. So yeah, he'll enjoy doing that, and he's not showy about it, regardless of his players bragging. And then, during his off hours, he's also going to pursue his kind of newfound interest in music, and he'll show up in the Deck 7 observation lounge, or the conference lounge down there, and occasionally, have a new instrument that he's recently replicated, and pluck away at some strings and try and he's trying to find an instrument that he really enjoys playing, and he's going to actually learn, as opposed to like flit from instrument to instrument, as it appears that he's doing. He replicated the lute after the holodeck adventure. Not the lute. It was a lute. And he'll show up with a guitar at some point, and ukulele, and So a lot of these things are going back into the reclamator.
Yeah, I figured as much. My main question actually is going to be, and it ties right into this. Would you say that? I mean, you just said you're somewhat practicing in public occasionally, if I understood that properly. But
yeah, he's willing to practice in public, regardless of how that might affect people around him. Like if he's getting a lot of scowls,
well, no, you're not getting scowls. What you are getting are other musicians on the Arcadia asking if you would like to coordinate a music performance or 2.
Oh, I mean, I don't know if I'm ready to do a formal performance. Is there anybody specific that's approaching him?
Actually, there are in fact 2 individuals in particular that approach you.
Okay.
The first one, surprisingly, is Lieutenant Dore, your chief medical officer, the Denobulan. He'll kind of come up to you one time when you're in the lounge, and he'll say, "Ensign, it is good to see you here. Actually, I was wondering if I might have a moment of your time."
Oh, certainly, Doctor. And he will set aside the Idosian harp that he's can't figure out because it requires 3 hands and he only has 2.
Well, I simply would like to say that I have had an interest in engaging in a cultural night aboard the Arcadia ever since I was first assigned here. And, well, you didn't hear this from me, but I also know that Sergeant Ujesa is actually quite the accomplished opera singer. I obviously don't know if you have any symphomatic type training, but I think a few of us might be able to get together and provide backup music for Ujesa if you so wish.
No, we could if the sergeant is interested, certainly, and there are capable musicians aboard, certainly. I don't know that I would be able to contribute to that, but if you want help organizing it, certainly I'm willing to help you with that, Doctor.
Oh, yes. I would certainly love to be playing, but it's one of those things where I actually don't like arranging things. I'm an idea guy. I come up with the ideas and then I kind of delegate, if that makes any sense.
Well, I would say that this is an excellent idea. Um, Don't think the commander would approve of us putting posters in the corridors.
Probably not.
Yeah. Do you know of any other musicians aboard who
I do
might be
indeed.
interested?
I know the pianist. I believe her name is what is her name? Ensign Terahe? And I'll put it in chat because I butcher my names. She's a. Sorry, I'm looking at my own notes here. She's a human. Graduated from the academy a couple years back, and this is her second ship posting. At least that's what I remember, anyway. And as I said, she's pretty good at the piano, but obviously on a small ship like the Arcadia, a piano's only going to be able to fit in so many places.
No, certainly. Although there are options available to us. There are keyboards and fold-out pianos. They don't have perhaps the visual splendor of a nice grand, but that shouldn't stop us from being able to use one. What did Doria say he plays?
Dore plays a instrument. It's a stringed instrument that is called the lonfra, and it is the Denobulan equivalent of a banjo. So very drastically different styles here.
Lobia?
Lonfra.
Lonefra, sorry.
Yeah, and I'll again put that in the chat so you get the.
Great. Okay. So yeah, I guess Michaud with this idea now given to him will kind of make discreet inquiries around the ship to see if anybody's interested in participating, see if anybody has any musical background. And I guess he'll approach Sergeant Jujesa and see what she thinks of the idea.
Okay. So it just so happens that you catch Sergeant Ujesa on the bridge initially. And for the moment, it's literally just you, Ujesa, and Ensign Monday.
Sergeant, can I have a moment of your time?
She kind of turns in the chair and says, "Of course, Ensign. What is it?"
Well, there is a rumor going around the ship that you're something of an accomplished performer.
She
Okay.
kind of she looks at Monday, and Monday like does that half turn with his head and starts to smirk. She's like, "Not here. Come with me. Conference room."
Absolutely.
So she takes you into the conference room. She says, "Who told you?"
As I said, it's just a rumor going around. Who can keep track of these things?
She narrows her eyes at you rather suspiciously, and she said, "If I find out who started this rumor, I will not only you not need know what I will do. But yes,
Understood. I think.
it is true. I may be somewhat. I might have, as you humans say, I have some talent with music."
I mean, it's more than I have. But I've been considering. Well, I was approached by the doctor. Came up with this suggestion that maybe we could have a cultural performance night, kind of a, I don't know if talent show would be applicable, but just a showcase for the various musical talents of members of the crew. And if you're interested, obviously there's no obligation, but if you're interested in performing, I think that'd be pretty wonderful. I'd love to see some Klingon opera.
Certainly. I think a talent show would be more inclusive. But as you apparently are the person in charge of logistics and arranging this, I will defer to your judgment. But I will say that as much as I, of course, love Klingon opera, it is my understanding that most do not appreciate its nuances.
Well, I'm sure they haven't simply given it a fair shake. So are you more inclusive? I'm not sure how you mean. Like, we're not excluding anybody.
She doesn't really know how to respond to that. So she'll kind of just go, perhaps it is not my place to say. But needless to say, I am quite capable of performing other Federation member species opera.
Oh, I see. Okay.
I have studied a few Earth classics, and I might be able to do something a bit more acceptable for the crew.
Well, if that's what you want to do, by all means. I don't think. I'm not sure. Acceptable is. I just don't think that anybody would not be accepting of your culture's performances. That I'm actually a little bit concerned that you would think that.
Well, you must understand. Even though I have been on the ship for several years now, it is one of those things where, as a Klingon, I am not used to other non-Klingons. It's still very much a cultural thing which I am learning to deal with, even to this day.
I understand being an outsider sometimes, even though I think of myself as human. Not everybody looks at me as such. So I think I understand to an extent where you're coming from, Sergeant.
Yes, well, I tell you what, if you do decide to make a talent contest of it, I would be willing to donate a bottle of 2309 to the quote unquote winner of the talent show.
A talent contest? I don't know. That needs to be a contest. It's just members of the crew getting together to perform for one another, to have a good time. I don't know. It's certainly something to think about. Yes, thank you, Sergeant. I'll keep that in mind.
Of course, and remember, you don't know anything about this. And she walks back onto the bridge.
Okay, yeah. He'll watch her go and be a little bit perplexed by the whole encounter, but choose to view it as a positive.
Yes, that's the idea. So before we cut to someone else, just to keep everyone engaged, was there anything else?
Not really. Rochelle was gonna, write some letters home, but other than that, I can't think of anything else he would be spending his spare time doing.
Okay.
Since he lost all his holiday time to Hai Long during the bet last session.
Yes, this is true. This is very much true. So Matic, we haven't heard from you in a while. Has anything changed with Matic?
Any replicators shooting out Raktajinkos?
Actually,
let's
yes.
hope so.
One of the main replicators in the mess hall is going to need an overhaul.
Like overhaul as in it needs to be repaired, or just replace the thing?
Either would do. It's really just whatever you feel like doing as the chief engineer at this point.
Anyone? So is it? I'm assuming it's in the mess hall.
Mm-hmm. And I'll shift
Okay.
ping you guys here so you can see where it is.
So if anyone's in the mess hall or if anyone's coming or going, this is
Mm-hmm.
kind of the scene you get to see. Matic is basically trying his best to take out this replicator, and if you get close enough, you just hear him under his breath just saying anything he can, cursing Raktajinkos, wondering why they were ever made. Like, just he's going insane having to deal with these Raktajinkos. He's getting a few like, okay, does he need to go see the counselor kind of looks?
Very good. I will also say, though, that during your time working on the replicator, a small crowd begins to form in the mess hall. And at the forefront is Chief Gaddett, the Bolian in charge of the shuttle bay. And since you're there, you can more or less listen in. Apparently, there's some sort of betting pool being arranged. The officers and enlisted crewmen that come through, they all try to place their own sort of bets. And I mean, you're just doing a little bit of mental math here, but you've already heard over 40 strips of Latinum are in the pot already, but you have no idea what they're betting on yet.
Um, is there a way that like I can kind of just listen in without turning around and being like, "Hey, what are y'all betting on?"
I would say you could just do that without needing a roll.
Okay.
So yeah, I guess you do just that. You listen in a little bit, and then you turn around and ask. And Gaddett just kind of looks at you excitedly and says, "Oh, haven't you heard? Apparently the sergeant and the chief are going to fight in the holodeck soon."
As in Hailong and Ujessa?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Would you like to place a bet? The current odds favor the sergeant.
Um, is there anyone? So we've been on the ship for a while.
Yeah.
Is there anyone in this room who's been more of a very like stickler for the rules? Because gambling isn't really allowed. Last time I checked, right?
Um, that is a good question.
A lot of officers gambled on DS9. Like
Yeah, I
all
was
the
gonna say
time.
there was gambling on DS9,
Well,
and
I
the
mean, that
only
was mostly the Ferengi dude. I just went blank on his
Orcs.
name. Yeah.
Um, the other instance where we get to see it in the shows was Voyager, but I think the only reason Chakotay shut it down was because Paris was skimming too much off the top.
Yeah.
So I think probably gambling is in a gray area. Um, but I would say you are probably the ranking officer, and probably, depending on how you want to flavor it, you may or may not be one of the more sticklers for the rules in this instance. I don't know. It's your character.
If Maddox's the most stickless person about the rules in this room right now, then we have an issue.
Oh, yeah.
Um, I'll just kind of ask, like, what are the odds? Do we know, like, are they going to go hand in hand? Are they going to go hand to hand? Are they going to be using their traditional weapons? Like, is you just going to be using a batleth and Ilong be using the sword or whatever? Or
Well,
what's?
basically, the current fight is set up to be actually human boxing, or perhaps mixed martial arts. It really could go either way at this point, but either way, they'll be in an arena. They will spar against each other with hand to hand combat, and the current odds, as I said, favor Ujesa. Currently, it is 2-1 in her favor.
Okay. Um, a normal bet's probably like what, 2, 3 pieces of latinum.
Well, you've got slips, you got strips, and you got bars. if I remember the conversion rate properly, I think it's something like 20 slips per strip, and then it's like 100 strips for a bar. So with 40 already in the pool, we're almost at a half of a bar of latinum, which is quite a bit.
I'll put in like 2 strips and put it on eye long.
Okay. So Gaddit very excitedly takes down your bet on her data pad, and she says, the fight. If you want to watch, we were going to broadcast it on a one of the unofficial channels aboard the ship, but the fight will take place at probably 2 days from now.
Do they know about this whole betting pool, Ensign?
Oh, no,
Wait.
no. That's part of the deal. You enter, if you bet, you can't tell them about it.
Is Gaddit an ensign or a chief?
She's a chief.
Okay. Okay, chief. All right. I'll just keep me informed. And if either of them find out, just watch yourself.
She just smiles at you in a Boolean sort of way, which is kind of like she expects the best, like she's being an eternal optimist kind of a thing. But yeah. We'll say at this point we will cut to the briefing room where Ensign Rouge and Commander Crowley and Captain Tahan, along with probably in the range of about 20 other people, kind of cram into this room. And Ensign Rouge kind of steps forward onto the little podium type area with the screen behind him, and he says, as most of you know, tonight we will be showing Casablanca, a classic wartime story drama between a Cation man who owns a club and those that come in and out of it. But I will not spoil it. Without any further ado, I present Casablanca. And it is quite literally the Cation version of Casablanca. I think everyone here is mostly familiar with it based on the response. But it is, even for Cation drama, it's really good. It's one of those things where you get the sense that this particular movie maybe was produced as kind of an homage to the original Earth movie. But it still has the flavoring of a pure Cation type entertainment production. So you get to see a little bit more into the Cation culture and a little bit more what sorts of shows and music and types of drama they might like. Come the end of the show, what'll happen is, oh, I forgot to mention that there's popcorn freely available with butter and butter salt, whatever you need. Towards the end of the movie, as the movie starts to wrap up and the credits begin to roll, everybody, is kind of discussing amongst themselves, how did you like it, that sort of thing. All three of the senior officers present, so Rousseau, Tahan, and Crowley, you're going to pick up that one of the ensign pairs in the back is discussing some sort of bet that they're between the two of them. And one of them says, no, I'm telling you that the Klingon is clear choice of a winner when it comes to hand-to-hand combat. And the other ensign goes, no. Serrato Dracos, they have the horns. And even if she can't use them, I'm confident that she can win.
I listen until they're done talking, and I get up.
Mm-hmm.
I just give a little glance over to the captain, and I walk up to the ensigns. Hello?
Sir, yes, hello.
Can't help it over here, and I just point to my ears. You two were discussing something. Something describing our crew members.
Yes, we were having a friendly debate about who would win in a fight between the sergeant and the chief.
Just a friendly debate?
They look really guilty. One of them kind of squeaks out, maybe a little bit more than that. And then the other ensign just kind of smacks the shoulder of the other ensign and says, "You put 12 strips on Hai Long. You can't call that a little bit."
Who did you give these strips to?
And they look at one another and say, we talked to Chief Gaddett, sir. She is currently in charge of the betting pool."
Betting pool.
"Yes, sir."
Alright. You're not to say anything.
"Of course, sir."
I go over to the captain.
All right, so Captain, I think you, if you would so wish, could probably hear most of that.
Yeah, I would have heard it. Who else is here from the bridge staff?
Rochot's there, I think, since he moved his token over.
Yep.
Okay.
But the only other named NPC would be Ensign Rouge. Everybody else is a blue or yellow shirt.
I imagine I'd be in a conversation right now with probably Rochot and Rouge, maybe.
Okay.
And so for when the commander was.
Michelle was so impressed with this movie that he's stumbling over his words. He's never actually seen the original, so he doesn't really know. And it's just amazed at how good this movie was.
Captain?
Yes, Commander, we were just talking about the movie. What are your thoughts?
Stimulating.
Oh, at the end there, when he says the line, it is this. Oh, wow! I never even knew this was. Oh, this. I don't.
I knew it was coming. It still gets me.
You seen Cation Blanca before, sir?
Well, I had done a little bit of research on it before, but I had not seen it.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah. No, I prefer to avoid spoilers myself, but this. Thank you for the invite, Ensign Rouge. This was, wow. Is there more like this?
Of course.
Is Cation movies? Is this how Cation movies are?
That is how most of our performances. Yes, we're a very attention or detail oriented species. This particular movie, as the captain may have found in his research, is an homage to a classic Earth film.
I'm sorry, what?
Casablanca, the original.
I'm not familiar.
If you get a chance, the original Casablanca is also worth a watch.
I will definitely look into that.
Perhaps the next movie night will be Casablanca, or maybe after a few, we rotate in some variety as well.
Actually, I wanted to get your opinions on that. We were thinking of showing the Titanic from Earth's distant culture or distant past, or we were considering showing a Tellarite action movie. I'm told it is the equivalent of a Tellarite secret agent, which Cation or Tellarites being secret agents. Personally, I just find that amazing.
I've got kind of one eyebrow up to suspicious that he's being disparaging of Tellarites.
No, he's definitely doing it in a jovial type way where, he fully accepts that Tellarites are good people. It's just that he doesn't... It's one of those things where you wouldn't expect a Tellarite to be kind of in an actor type role.
Well, oh God. Yeah, I suppose. You were the cultural director for these kinds of things. I'm sure you'll pick an excellent movie.
We'll certainly strive to, sir. Oh, but my apologies, Commander. It looks like you might have something to say.
Yes. If I could just deal with the captain for a brief moment. I'm also looking forward to the next movie night. May I recommend the fantastic 3-part series of The Fellowship of the Chalice of Rix. It's a Betazoid classic.
The Chalice of Reese. Sure, I can see if we've got it on record. The Lord of the Chalice of Reese. Jesus.
How long did it take you to come up with that one?
2 seconds, because I just needed to check the spelling of the name.
Oh man, that's great.
Yeah, if I could just borrow the captain for a moment, gentlemen.
Sure. Do you want to walk and talk, or?
Just a little sidebar.
Okay.
Now,
What's on your mind?
with most vessels, there's certain rules that go against protocol, which is perfectly acceptable to a certain degree. Your stance on gambling?
Well, I found that I remember when I was a lieutenant, and we would gamble on whatever. I remember everyone involved, whether they had bet or not, or just curious, they ended up so much more motivated for their work because they were interested in seeing the results. Oftentimes, it was a harmless and jovial way to spend some time, but I do understand that there's a perception among many cultures of gambling as a vice. I've not had much of that from Drill Society, though.
Well, as long as I'm impartial to it, as long as it does not compromise or lead to anyone being harmed. Apparently, there's some betting going on between our sergeant and our science officer, Hylong.
They arranged a fight to be bet on?
It seems so.
That doesn't sound like Ujesa.
If you give me permission, I'd like to investigate it, and I will give you a report. And if it develops to be something bigger, I will definitely bring you in on this.
Sure thing. As long as it's good for crew morale and isn't having any detrimental effects on the ship's function, I don't have any problem with it.
That's what I'm hoping for as well. This would be a nice way to help with spirits, especially since we're this far out now.
All right, but more importantly, who do you think would win?
Well, I had to fight against the sergeant. We had a nice little sparring, and she went toe-to-toe with someone that has half Vulcan blood, and we're strong. So
That you are. I think it should be an excellent match.
well, if it doesn't all check out, what should I put you down for?
Oh, I couldn't possibly bet against one of my own subordinate officers.
Right, but if you had to.
I just give him that little smile. I was like, okay. But I will.
The better contender will win.
It'll be interesting for sure. I will proceed to investigate further and make sure everything is up and it's not to be abused. And I will report my findings.
All right. Best luck in your investigation, Commander.
Thank you. I just give him a nod of my head, and I go back to the two ensigns.
Okay. So the ensigns look at you again, and now that they've seen you talk with the captain, they're like, oh shit, we're in so much trouble.
Do I sense that on them?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I give my best stone face ever.
Like, but 3 feet behind you, you just sense me just grinning ear to ear about you having to go awkwardly confront these ensigns.
I just look at them for a second and slowly raise an eyebrow. When is this fight supposed to happen?
Day and a half from now, sir.
Day and a half. Where?
The holodeck, sir.
And did I hear them mention it's going to be broadcasted?
No, not yet.
told me that? And who's all attending this?
Well, the plan was to broadcast it on one of the unused channels, the unofficial channel, sir.
Okay. You're dismissed. You can go about your day. Don't mention anything to anyone still.
Yes, sir. And they don't walk so much as run out of the briefing room.
I tap my comm badge and ask the computer where the chief is at. Chief Gaddit.
Chief Gaddit. She is currently in the mess hall.
I head on over.
All right, I'll move your token on over. So, to put it in timeline-wise, this will probably be about the same time that Matic, you finally finish your repairs on this replicator, and it's also about this time that Gaddit, the crowd around Gaddit, has kind of dimmed down to only like a few people, and it is this scene that Crowley you walk in on.
Has the money gone up any, or are we still sitting at about half a bar?
We're now sitting at about a bar total of Latinum.
All right.
I walk in with my stone-faced look, and I just quickly scan the room for Chief Gaddit.
She's the only Bolian in the place, so it's very easy to pick out the blue-skinned woman.
And I make a direct line right for her.
Okay. So she kind of looks up from her datapad and says, Commander, what can I do for you, sir?
Oh, I've heard some communications through subspace that you're arranging a gambling pool.
She smiles again in that very optimistic Bolian way, and she says, well, yes, sir. I thought it might be good for morale.
Did you seek permission for a gambling pool?
No, sir, but I wasn't aware that Starfleet regulations required me to seek permission.
Well, technically, Starship protocols dictate that no gambling should be aboard a vessel.
Oh, that is my mistake, sir. On the Bolian vessels I served on, we were very much informal about that rule.
Well, lucky for you, and for me, the captain is fine with this, as long as it does not compromise anyone's duty.
Well, besides the strips of Latinum, I think only one ensign has put up his holodeck time as a wager, so I would like to say that I'm keeping everything on the up and up.
That's good. More or less in the terms of anyone getting an addiction or using it as a vice of sorts. We want this for fun, not for habit forming.
Of course, sir. Besides, things like this only come around once in a while.
Which is fun. I'm going to look at the time of when this fight is going to take place, and when everyone's working, and if it is a good period in the day, you may not need to use the unofficial channels to broadcast it.
Oh, that would be excellent, sir.
But you're going to have to tell Sergeant Urjesa and Hailong that this will be broadcasted to the whole ship.
Of course, sir.
And who's favored of winning right now?
Well, the current odds are 2.5 in favor of Ujesa.
Put me down for 5 strips for Hailong. I want to see what she's capable of.
Yes, sir. 5 strips it is.
Not gonna be disappointed, Commander. Trust me. I've seen her.
It'll be interesting to see. And next time, when you want to plan a betting or a gambling pool, keep me apprised.
Of course, sir.
Right. Medic, how's that replicator coming?
Just finished it up. Other one's already been reclaimed. Hopefully this one doesn't start shooting out Raktajinkos or...
So the moment you say Raktajinko, the moment that the thing starts to materialize a drink, and you look at horror expecting a Raktajinko, but instead of a Raktajinko, it spits out a Vulcan Mocha.
I kind of look at it, pick it up, and then I say Raktajinko again.
Another Vulcan Mocha.
Vulcan Mocha.
Nothing happens.
Shit.
I raise an eyebrow and I just walk over. Earth beverage. Pop.
You get a cream soda.
I hate cream soda. I want Coke. I just put it back. Keep at it. Make sure this is actually replicating what people are requesting.
So, Matic, if you want to roll me a insight plus engineering at a difficulty of 1, we'll see if you can figure out what the hell's going on.
Is it a technical problem?
We'll find out. I would say if you have a focus, yes, that would apply.
Well, no, it's one of my talents is add a d20 to determine source of a technical problem with ship.
Oh, then yes, that would apply here.
All right. It wouldn't be power systems or alien engineering technology, so I guess I don't have a focus.
Yeah, definitely not alien. Oh, yeah.
If you want some assistance, Rochelle does have a focus in replicators and transporters.
Well, maybe you can bring in Rochelle here. So you find out that the problem is not with the replicator itself, but there is a subroutine running on the main computer that apparently was left over from a previous engineer who worked on the core. You get the sense that this is the equivalent of a Starfleet practical joke, and it is rather trivial for you, Matic, to go and disable this protocol. But there's really no telling if there are any more such subroutines or programs that might be running on the core at the moment.
Does he leave his name? Did the engineer leave their name?
Oh, definitely not.
Am I able to tell anything? Like, I'm able to get any sort of insight as to when it might have been there?
Probably about the time the Arcadia was undergoing its refit in order to get bioneural gel packs and the holodeck. So right about, I think it was the beginning of 2371, or maybe towards the end of 2370.
So about the same time it got sabotaged?
No, this would be, well, yeah, I guess suppose, because that's when the plasma conduit got installed, but this would be more towards the beginning of the refit process.
Okay. Who would be... trying to remember who would be good at, like, hey, we need to find these subroutines and get rid of them.
Let me check, because I know Hylong doesn't have the computer's focus. I believe Ordy might. Let me check. Nope, Ordy doesn't. I think, Rochelle, you've got something computer related. Yeah.
I do have a focus on computers, yep.
Yeah, I'm looking through all the supporting characters I've got the stats for, and I think Rochelle's probably going to be your best bet.
Alright. I'm going to hop on the communicator. Rochelle, this is Matic.
Go ahead.
Meet me in main engineering, whenever you get the chance.
Yeah, I'm just going to take care of something quick, and then I'll be right there, sir.
All right. See you there.
Excellent. So if we can get over to me.
Yep.
Cool. So after Rochelle slipped out while the commander and the captain were having their conversation about the gambling pool, Rochelle did hear the ensigns over speaking, or like he did overhear them talking, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So he was going to head to the conference room and ask Ujesa and Hailong to meet him there.
Okay. Let me move those tokens appropriately. You, of course, arrive in the conference room to find that Ujesa and Hailong are already present when you walk in.
Chief, Sergeant, thanks for meeting me. I just wanted to make sure the two of you are aware that there's a betting pool forming around your upcoming sparring match.
Hailong and Ujesa share a look. And this is more of a look of I told you so than it is anything else. And Ujesa says, I told you people would bet. And Hailong just kind of shrugs and says, well, if you would stop hyping it up, it wouldn't have come to this. And Ujesa rolls her eyes and say, of course, you as a Serato Draco would think that no one would bet. Who does that?
I respect both of you quite a bit. And I just want to make sure that you're comfortable with the situation, and your rivalry. Is this going to be a thing? Is this a friendly rivalry, or is there something deeper going on here? I just want to make sure everything's going smoothly.
Hailong kind of smiles and say, "Oh, don't worry. It's about as friendly as a rivalry you can get between two warriors of equal measure." And Ujesa kind of snorts and says, equal. She thinks she's by equal.
Understood. I was concerned, and I was starting to feel, I guess, a little bit guilty about broadcasting the Sergeant of the Commander's fight from a couple weeks ago. I worried that I may have started something.
Oh, no. And this is Ujesa. No. This has been a long time coming. I eagerly look forward to putting to rest whether or not the Chief or I are the better fighter.
All right. Well, if I appreciate your responding. Then I was worried it might be something more than it seems to be.
And both of them look at you, and almost in unison they ask, "So who did you bet on?"
Nobody's approached me to ask for my opinion yet.
They look at you expectantly as if to say, well, what is your opinion?
Well, Chief, as you know from your extra holodeck time, you know who I bet on last time, so.
She beams, and Ujesa looks a little bit pissy, but it's Klingon, so not too much has changed.
And hopefully having skirted that issue, she'll then say, I promised to meet Lieutenant Maddock in the engineering, so I should probably go. But again, thank you for meeting me.
Yeah, of course. And both of them were returned to whatever they were doing at the time.
Engineering.
Yeah, let me get you and Maddock together, and then I'll move us all down to engineering. I thought about, doing this as separate maps, but two maps together just gets to be a little bit annoying. I'd much rather prefer to do this, stacked sheet kind of thing. So let's see. Main engineering is over here on deck 7. So all the way down here.
While waiting on Rochelle, I probably sent a message to the commander and captain, just letting them know, like, hey, I found this subroutine. Probably some engineer back on the in station playing practical jokes on us. I'm just gonna try to figure out what other ones are running and try to shut them all off.
Okay. So, Captain and Commander, you would, of course, get this communique.
Yeah, I would advise us dropping out of warp, go station keeping while this is done.
Okay.
Just in case.
All right. Monday does just that.
I also let the captain know too that I talked with Chief Get it.
How did that
And
go?
went well. I'm gonna look at the timing of when this is supposed to happen, and instead of them trying to sneak a peek watching it, if it's at a nice lull period, I figured it'd be okay for the display to be broadcasted on open channels within the ship.
Wait, they didn't know this was happening?
Oh, apparently they're going to use unofficial channels to display the bout.
Oh, I understand.
So I'm looking at trying to find out how to have this displayed, so it's during, as I said, a slow period of the day.
Well, it seems like everything is on the up and up. Good work, Commander.
I also put 5 strips down on Pylon.
Ah,
Curious to see how well she does. I did make sure that Chief Gad lets them know that it is now being broadcast on official channels and not unofficial.
okay.
Maybe there'll be more sporting. I don't know. It'll be interesting.
Well, I do look forward to it. And rest assured, Chief Hylong is a competent fighter.
It'll be interesting for sure. Let's hope this subroutine joke is just only within the replicators.
Yes, I hope it's not an issue for our security, but I do concur with your decision to go to station keeping while we work on this.
Yeah, don't need anything happening while we're traveling that faster than light.
All right, I would like, though, for the engineer to give me an estimate on how long we'll be stationary. I don't want to keep us from our next destination for too long.
Understood. I tap my comm badge.
Mm-hmm.
Crowley to medic.
This is Matic. Go ahead.
What's your ETA?
I'm gonna do. Seeing as we're having to go to station keeping, I'm just gonna check warp engines, shields, and weapons first. Once I clear those 3, then I'll move to the not as vital systems. Give me an hour or two to see if. Give me an hour or two. That should give me plenty of time to find any subroutines and get them out of there.
I would toss life support as a high priority as well.
And transporters.
And transporters.
We don't really need transporters going at warp, sirs.
No, we can. I don't want there to be any hidden subroutines in our transporter system.
Right. I'll check those after I check engines and shielding and weapons.
You have permission to pull any staff you need for this check as well to help expedite and also make sure it is accurate.
Sir. Right now I'm just pulling Rochelle. He's been pretty good with computers. If there's anyone that y'all have that needs something to do, you can just send them my way, I guess, or...
And it's probably about this time that Rochelle, you walk into main engineering.
Lieutenant?
How you doing, Ensign?
Doing well. Yourself, sir?
Finding new issues with the ship every day.
Well, I mean, she's got a personality.
Yeah, too bad one of the idiots back on Narendra Station is the one that gave it to her. Raktajinko's acting up. Dumbass put in a prank as a subroutine as a prank. So now I want to go through and check all the systems, make sure we don't got nothing else surprising coming this way.
Okay, certainly.
All right. So whoever is assisting, you're only, again, and you can correct me on this because I'm still a bit fuzzy on assisting. So assisting, I believe you only get the 1d20. But for Matic, you would be specifically rolling a Insight plus Engineering. And Rochelle, you would be rolling a Control plus Science. And to top everything off, I'm going to say that the ship can assist with its computers plus security. And this is all going to be at a difficulty of 4.
Ooh.
Do I still use the talent of determine source of a technical problem with the ship, or no?
I'll allow it.
All right.
So it really just comes down to who's assisting whom and who's rolling for the ship.
If I'm assisting, I still get to use talents, right?
Should be able
Yeah.
to, yeah.
Okay, so if I assist Richaud, we would still both get 2 dice.
Correct.
And then plus the ship, so that's 4 or 5 dice.
Okay, do have one
we're gonna
momentum
get 5
as
dice out of the
well.
way.
That's some momentum.
We have 3 momentum, I think.
We have 3 momentum?
Yeah.
much-
Yeah. The daring security test or task ended up being a couple more successes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So that one, and then the 2 I got. So then,
Oh, okay.
yeah, so we have 3 momentum.
All right.
All right, I can click the button for the ship's roll.
Okay.
Sure. All right. So I'm gonna spend 1 momentum or all 3 momentum to add extra dice.
Well, more dice does just increase the chance of a complication as well.
There's that.
Okay.
We're already rolling a lot.
I have an idea.
Sure.
So, in order to put in subroutines and or in order to do coding on everything, everyone has their own way of doing it. Is
Right.
there a way that I can spend 2 momentum to create an advantage to look at other sources of coding that are similar in the way that this one's built, the one that I've already found?
I would say that that would be a very good advantage to create. It'll cost you 2 momentum, but the difficulty would go down to a 3.
And then, Richaud, you can spend that 1 momentum to get the second dice. Or
Yeah,
third
and
dice.
my technical expertise talent will let me re-roll, seeing as we're being assisted by the ship.
Basically, you're set up to
Um,
succeed here.
Excellent use of the rules, team.
I thought there was something where, like, if me being the chief engineer was doing something with the ship, I got a bonus, or there was a bonus of some sort.
Get reduced difficulty.
So I'd go down to 2.
So now it's a 2, or is
Yeah.
it still a 3? Because it would have been a 5 reduced to 4. Reduced to
I was already factoring in your chief engineer kind of talent, unless you have
Okay.
an additional talent I'm not aware of.
3. No.
Well, it's not a talent. It's just
The role, yeah.
Yeah, the benefit of the roll.
All right. So let's roll and hope there's no complications.
Pretty much, yeah.
Oh.
Blam.
1, 2.
Come on, ship, get a complication.
So a 3. So 3, 4, 5, 6
I think
momentum
you
right
just
there.
maxed your momentum right there.
After using all of it.
Cool.
Oh,
And,
it's going to be good because I'm going to let you guys use momentum during the Ujasa and Hailong fight.
Ooh, fancy. In that case, because of the untapped potential talent, I also get to roll the challenge die to see if we gain a little bit more momentum, and can use that to ask a question if it happens.
Okay.
I also have the. Do I also use the untapped potential because I created the advantage, or no?
It's when you add extra dice to a roll with by spending momentum or threat. So
Okay.
I'm gonna guess that you would not in this case.
Yeah, because yours came from a talent.
Yeah, and
Right.
you reduce difficulty as opposed to adding dice. So if we're being fiddly about the rules, that would be my interpretation.
Yeah, I'm going to say no. We've got a lot going on here already.
Okay,
So
so that
that's-
is 1 momentum and 1 threat added to the threat pool.
Whatever threat means for this adventure, sure.
Exactly. So I'm going to spend that 1 momentum to ask the question of: are we able to determine specifically which engineer,
Worked on it. I got
worked on this and put this little secret in?
So the both of you kind of pore over the system, and thanks to Maddox's quick insight to check programming styles, you are very able to match up with one of the engineers who initially worked on the Arcadia. So this actually goes back even further than Narendra Station. This goes back to its initial creation at Utopia Planitia. And the engineer in question is a lieutenant known as Eberwolf. And if you were to pull up his record, you would see that he is a Tellarite, and that he has been in Starfleet for a little bit more than about 8 years at this point.
Where's he stationed?
Utopia Planitia.
Okay, so he's still there.
Yeah.
Do we have contact with them or no?
Not well. I mean, it's not like you're in a totally different quadrant, so yeah, you should have contact with them.
All right, I'm going to send a letter to him, and I'm just gonna put in like his. I'm just gonna do like. I'm just gonna put like, it's a good thing to know that there's still a sense of humor. Just no more rectajinkos for the love of gods. And then I'm just gonna have like the attachments of all of his subroutines that we found.
Okay.
And Rochelle's gonna go get a Rectigino because he actually likes them.
So before you do run off, though, you do actually get another bit of information. So up to this point, since the refit, the EMH has not been activated, but apparently someone swapped out Dr. Zimmerman's visage with Sean Connery's.
So we just leave that in there, then, right?
No. We leave the voice, but put in the doctor.
What seems to be the medical emergency?
Smoking a pancake.
Damn it. I'm crying.
Okay,
I actually had a list of people it could be, and I just rolled, and it ended up being Connery. Other possible candidates were Morgan Freeman. There was the movie, I think it's Don LaFontaine, the old movie announcer guy. You know, like the In a World.
Okay.
Was Liam Neeson a possibility?
Liam Neeson was on there, yeah.
Oh, man.
And then there was Tom Cruise in A Few Good Men. That was another choice. Anyway.
I would be terrified of a Jack Nicholson EMH.
Oh, God! Oh, that's terrifying.
It's always
He
fun
ripped back the curtain.
Yeah, it's really fun to do random tables like that. I won't deviate too far here, but the random tables were responsible for the death of 500 Romulans for the Ophion crew yesterday. So,
Oh, shit.
Well,
That'll be fun to catch up on.
oh yeah. But let's bring it back in. So yeah, Matic, you send off the letter, and Richo and Matic, what are you guys doing at this point? Besides getting a Rectajinko.
I got rid of all the subroutines, right?
Oh yeah, you got rid of all of them.
Okay. I'm actually going to contact. No, I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to reset everything. I'm not going to keep Connery. How long did that take? Seeing as we over succeeded.
I'm gonna say maybe an hour, if that.
All right. I'm just going to hit comm badge. Commander, this is Matic.
Commander Crowley here.
Just finished up. We were able to look at the way the programming was done, and we were able to get all the subroutines and all systems finished already.
Good to hear. Thank you. I'll let the captain know.
Rochelle's going to return to Matic, now with his iced Rectigino piled high with whipped cream. You know, if the opportunity presents itself, we do need to get revenge.
One day, Rochelle. One day.
Oh, now just
So I'd like
imagine-
to do a little bit of time travel here.
Okay, yeah, sure. Backwards or forwards?
It is Star Trek.
I do have. I am working on that device in my quarters. So I mean, do I need to
I don't
get
know.
that
I
real
do not.
quick or?
I
How
do not
close
know
are
about that.
Maddox's quarters to Rochelle's, and can they be further away?
I don't know. You
Um,
actually have a commander now who handles logistics. It's up to you guys. Anyway, you were saying.
So, with the ship at station keeping, I figured I would make use of this time and ask Ensign Monday and Chief Gaddett to meet me in the Wave Rider shuttle bay.
Okay. So I'll drag all your tokens down. So there's Gaddett. We'll add Gaddett to the grouping there.
And basically, what I want to do is, Monday's obviously the ace pilot on the ship.
Right.
And I'm asking him to either from the Arcadia or as my co-pilot run me through some piloting drills of his own devising.
Oh, well, sir, I'm glad you asked, and really, I'm touched that you are interested in doing it here rather than on a holodeck or one of those Type 9 things.
No, this is the captain's yacht. I gotta fly this thing too.
Well, Monday turns to Gaddett, and Gaddett nods and says, and Monday kind of, once everyone's seated in the cockpit, Monday says, "Computer, run Gaddett Monday program Alpha 2." And right on cue, the sort of like, I forget what the actual material is, but the transparent material that lets you see outside at the front of the vessel turns opaque and begins to go through a simulation complete with appropriate sensor readouts and things of that nature. The only difference really between doing it actually in the Wave Rider as opposed to the holodeck is you don't get the the turbulence feel, and you don't get the the push of acceleration type thing. But everything else is very real. It's a very accurate representation of how you might fly this thing.
Okay. I'll turn to Ensign Monday. It's like, I'd actually like to take it out.
Oh, computer, disable. And the Wave Rider goes back to being normal.
Chief Gaddett, let's begin the unclamping procedures.
Yes, sir. And the Wave Rider Bay seals itself off as the anterior of the Arcadia, the anterior of the saucer section, kind of opens up a little bit and unclamps, and the Wave Rider drops very gracefully a few kilometers off of the Arcadia.
Ensign Monday, any suggestions?
Well, sir, a few laps around the Arcadia would be a good place to start. And depending on how you do, maybe we can work in some maneuvering, like barrel rolls and such.
All right, that sounds great. And then I want to do that.
Okay. I believe that's going to be a control plus a con test.
Okay. A contest?
Yes.
I do not have an applicable focus. I would like to use some momentum here. What's the difficulty?
The difficulty for you is going to be a 2.
Yeah, I'll just use 1.
Okay.
This is fun. All right. Control con.
Control con, yeah.
All right. 3 dice. No focus.
You get that momentum back.
All right.
So yeah, you take very quickly to learning how the Wave Rider works, and you pretty much get the thing going at a pace. I mean, you're not like Tom Paris in the Delta Flyer level, but you are more than adequate in your ability to lead the shuttle through a few more advanced maneuvers, kind of a thing. And as all this happens, Monday and Gaddett give you a few pointers like, hey, lay off the acceleration during this curve and let the Wave Rider just skim, things of that nature. And as you do that, I would like you to roll me a insight plus science roll at a difficulty of 2.
All right. Don't think any of my focuses reply because I have no idea what's happening. I'm going to use another momentum.
This is very much a mysterious roll, and I will say, yeah, none of your focuses work.
All right.
All right, you get the successes you need. So again, the Shackleton Expanse is a very turbulent region in terms of stellar phenomena. So while you're in a small area of space that isn't like completely encased by electromagnetic eddies, you are detecting a somewhat strange phenomena in that about, I believe it's something along the lines of about 5 AU away, you're detecting what appears to be the formation of such an eddy.
Interesting. Can scanners read people from this distance?
Yeah, they seem to be picking it up just fine.
Yeah, I want to record this whole thing and get as much sensor data as possible. And then I will request that the Arcadia's sensors do the same thing.
Okay.
If they're online right now. I know Matic is fiddling with lots of things.
I would say yeah. The taking them offline and scanning would have been very quick. I'm not even going to have you guys roll because you're already at pretty much max momentum here. The Arcadia sensors are obviously more advanced than the Wave Riders, and are able to pick up all the nuances of this formation. And even though stellar cartography astrometrics don't really know the specifics yet, I will say that they will be able to pore over the information and come up with a theory possibly by next episode.
Excellent. Oh wait, look. Hopefully, we can find some way to protect our ship from these.
Mm-hmm.
That's the goal. All right.
But yeah, I guess the question is, at some point, Crowley would let you know that the subroutines have been handled, kind of a thing. So my question is mainly, how long do you stay out there in the Wave Rider?
Inspund, how many more maneuvers do you have for me?
I mean, I could do this all day, sir.
Let's just do 2 more and then head back.
Of course, sir. What you want to do here is you want to bank the shuttlecraft at a 45-degree angle. And he more or less teaches you how to cause it to drift in space. However the hell you actually drift a starship. Might come in handy in case you enter into a race in the near future. Anyway. So yeah, I would say that it matches up probably about the same time the Arcadia is ready to resume its journey. That you bring the Wave Rider back into its holding bay.
So, I have something I want to do too that requires some time travel.
Okay. What are we, backwards or forwards for you?
Backwards. So roughly after the captain leaves the bridge, I call for Sergeant Ujesa to come to the bridge.
Okay. So Ujesa will meet you on the bridge. And it's actually one of those rare moments where pretty much it's all like red shirts, like people from Beta Shift that are on duty on the bridge, because Ujesa's off duty at the moment. You're on off duty. Monday's off the ship. The captain's off the ship. So it's one of those rare moments where it's just you and Ujesa on the bridge. Well, you and the only real people of note at the moment.
I looked at her. I was like, I know you're off duty, but I just wanted a pair of hands on the bridge, just in case when the captain comes back or when the chief engineer is able to resolve the subroutine issue. But I'm gonna leave you in charge of the bridge for a little bit here.
Yes, sir. Of course.
All right, thank you.
Oh, and
Uh,
I'm curious, sir. Who did you bet on?
Bet on who?
For the, you know.
Oh, um, I'm not allowed to say,
Ah,
but do well.
haha, of course, sir.
And I will head out of the bridge and make my way to sickbay.
Okay. Sick bay is over here. Okay, so yeah, you walk in and you find that Dore, Lieutenant Dore, the Denobulan, is currently under his operating table as if looking for something.
Doctor?
Sorry. He kind of crawls out, stands up, brushes himself off, and says, "Ah, Commander, pleasure seeing you here. What can I do for you?"
I know when I got transferred aboard the ship, I didn't come down and see it really. And I let the captain know that, and well, he advised me to come down and see you as soon as I can in the next day or so. So I figured I'd get it out of the way right now.
Sure, if you have a seat there on the bed, I can get your physical out of the way.
Sure. What were you looking for, by the way?
Oh, one of my pets, a Grinx, as it's called. It's gone missing. I'm sure he'll come back, but he's not where he should be at the moment.
Is there any risk to him, the ship, or the crew?
No. He's done this before. It's simply a matter of, I guess you would call it sort of a drive for freedom, if that makes any sense. A Grinx is very much like a cat, sir.
Oh, all right. Well, I know what freedom that compulsion's like.
Yes. And he steps up to you with one of his medical tricorder and engages you in small talk.
I kind of clench my jaws. He comes up with a tricorder. I'm just like, great, this again. Just a flashback, just being scanned all over again.
I think Dore would be knowledgeable enough to make it the most pleasant or about as tolerable of an experience as he can make it. Unless you specifically want anything to come up during the physical, he's going to step back after a few minutes and say, "Well, you appear to be in order. I'm not detecting any abnormalities. I'm seeing green across the board."
All right, that's good. Hey, this is actually my first time aboard a ship that has an EMH. How do you find them?
Well, you simply say, "Computer, activate EMH." And the EMH shimmers into reality, and it is Sean Connery.
Yes.
And he says, "Please state the nature of the medical emergency." And Dory looks
That?
at Sean Connery and says, "Well, that's new."
Is this the Mark II?
No, it's supposed to be the Mark One.
That does not look like anything I have seen of them in the information pamphlets I've been given of them.
Well, excuse me, I'm right here.
Oh, I am terribly sorry. Is everything fine with your operating system?
Yes, sir.
Who are you supposed to look like?
There's a moment pause, and he says, "I believe I'm supposed to represent a great actor from Earth's past."
Alrighty then.
That great actor, Senior Chief Otis?
Thank you. We just wanted to make sure your programming was running and operational. Would you like me to deactivate your programming?
Yes, please.
Alright, computer deactivate EMH, please.
EMH goes away.
I imagine that roughly this time is when I get contacted by engineering.
Okay. Alright, good stuff. I think this is actually a good point to take a small break. That way, when we can come back, we can do the probably much anticipated fight on the holodeck and see how that goes. So let's take about a 5-minute break. Be back here at 5:10 my time.
Excellent.
All right, BRB. All right, I'm back. Guess this would be a good time to make sure I vet the right roles for Ujesa and Hailong here. Where did I put Rochelle? Oh, he's still in engineering, that's why.
You lost a person?
I was trying to find where the hell I put Rochelle's token.
Oh.
He was accidentally beamed down to space.
Rip. Teleporters malfunction, you all get transported.
Man, that was actually
I
messed
told
up.
Matic to check those.
I was actually messed up in Discovery when the latest episode he gets beamed out. I was like, oh no.
Yeah, there's not much you can do against that.
No.
That was a great montage.
That was.
Just all
Well
of
filmed.
Lorca's deaths. Yeah. That's some... Made me rewatch Cause and Effect again. That's always a fun episode.
Yeah.
Not one I want to live on. Well, I don't know how we... That'd be hard to do without... because we'd have player knowledge, right?
Right.
The time loop?
Yeah, the
Yeah,
time
like a
loops are
time loop
hard.
episode in an RPG.
Yeah, I'm
It'd be a
trying to
little
figure out how to
hard
do
to-
one for my group.
I mean, the only thing I can really think of is some sort of, like, you know how the one for Voyager, how Janeway got trapped with that, like, devil alien that kept trying to take her away kind of a thing?
Q?
Well, not Q. It was...
I have a terrible memory for Voyager. I do not
Oh
know which one.
yeah, it was the one that was pretending to be her dad.
Yeah, that one.
I do not remember that at all, and I rewatched Voyager like a year and a half ago.
Needless to say, there's a point where there's a small time loop the captain gets stuck in, and it starts off the second time in the time loop she thinks deja vu, and then the third and fourth and subsequent times she very quickly realizes that there is a time loop going on. So I think if I were to do it myself, what I would do is I would have the characters roll either a difficulty 4 task or just do like a 1d 100 roll, and the closer they get to 100, the more they might remember from the loop, kind of a thing.
That way they would curve metagaming, because then we go like, oh hey, well I know less now.
Yeah, definitely tricky, but probably not impossible.
You guys familiar with the podcast The Adventure Zone?
I am somewhat familiar, yeah.
Okay, they did a time loop arc, but all the characters were aware of it from the very first go, pretty much. So,
Ah,
yeah. It was pretty good, but yeah.
Yeah, I guess if you do it where everyone knows that they're in a time loop, and that you can still do interesting stuff with that. You don't have to worry about metagaming. The bad kind, I guess.
yeah.
There's a good kind of metagaming too.
What I'm trying to figure out to do right now is a flashback episode for my game.
Ooh.
So the one thing I'll say about flashbacks is, and this is probably one of the very few faults I have with Shield of Tomorrow, um, don't let the characters linger too long on one particular character.
Oh no, that was terrible. Yeah,
yeah.
that's pretty much what I stopped watching Shield tomorrow because of that episode.
Oh yeah, it's gotten much better.
I think they moved it to a different night, so I don't know if I would actually be able to watch it now.
Yeah,
but,
it's now Mondays at 10. Same
yeah, I
time as
definitely
Critical
cannot watch
Role.
it.
But yeah, it's one of those things also as a flashback where you either have to have characters like you guys who are willing and able to come up with good backstories to explore, or you have to be good and have these sort of players that are okay with you guys messing with their backstory type thing. It's very much where metagaming comes into play.
What I want to do is have a trial, so the flashbacks would all be related to this event that they're on trial for as they're going through and presenting evidence and whatnot, and so you go from the trial to the situation, and
Gotcha.
yeah, so that's the what I'm working on right now for the next like big arc for my game after the current one's done, and they get their Jem'Hadar counselor that they wanted for a while now. So
Jem'Hadar counselor, huh?
Wait,
Yeah.
what?
yeah, it's been a joke since the game started that there's a Jem'Hadar counselor board, and every time they bring it up, I'm like, no, guys, there's no Jem'Hadar counselor. But I'm actually going to give them one at the end of the current arc. So
Neat.
yeah,
I'll say that I have actually something planned like that for you guys. I won't spoil the mystery though. But yeah, it's 5:13, so we'll go ahead and pick back up, and Matic can just join us as he gets back. So the day and time of the fight arrives, and everybody aboard ship is looking forward to it. The very air itself is a combination of tension and excitement. And sure enough, Crowley, you were able to determine that the fight can be broadcasted on an official channel. So all the bridge officers are probably going to view this from the bridge, and everybody else is either like in the briefing room or in the mess hall, or I would say that nobody's in the holodeck except for the two combatants. But it is very much an event where almost everybody on the ship is watching. And before
like
I,
the idea of the EMH appearing in the holodeck as a referee.
oh yeah, so Sean Connery can referee. I'll allow it. So I did want to ask. We can do this one of two ways. Either we can do I roll for one character and you guys roll for the other, or each one of you, or well, really two of you, can pick either Hailong or Ujesa and do their rolls for them.
I already bet it. I'm gonna stay back and not influence it, so I'll leave it for the other guys too.
Okay.
I'll volunteer to roll for Ujesa.
Okay, so Rochelle, you've got Ujasa's.
Yeah.
I'll roll for Ilong, seeing as I betted on her.
Okay.
But Maddox gonna also be in there and be like the coach, you know?
Like that, the typical boxer thing where you're rubbing the shoulders, like, you got this, you got this.
I just love the fact that we're using the huge view screen in the bridge to watch two of our officers duke it out.
It's unofficial Fight Club, man. Shit's serious. So to set the scene
rule number one.
of what everybody's seeing, the holodeck has been turned into a very simple boxing ring, and it is, pretty much your standard fare where you've got that raised kind of square platform with the ropes around it, and there's just a single spotlight light that illuminates it from above, and everything like the exterior of the boxing ring is in dark, so that the only thing that you're seeing is the boxing ring and the combatants themselves. And as the two combatants step in, you see that both Ujesa and Hailong are kitted out in basic boxer fare, and they have already on their gloves. And as they step into the ring, the EMH materializes and says, "All right, I want a good, clean fight. And remember, most of all, well, I had something for this, but I forgot. Touch gloves, and we can get started." And the both of them touch gloves, and they take appropriate fighting stances apart from one another. And then, with a down swipe of his hand, the EMH declares, "Begin!" And the way this is going to work is, first off, we do need to see who's going first. So I need both Hailong and Ujesa. I need you both to roll me a 1d100. And whoever's closer to 100 will be going first. Oh, a 94. Hard to beat.
Casey comes out swinging.
All right, so it will indeed be Ujesa who will be the active character first. And I'll add this to the turn order so that we don't get too lost in who's up when. So Hailong and then Ujesa, and Ujesa's first. All right, so basically what this is going to come down to is it's going to be a series of contested daring plus security rolls. Your standard melee combat type rolls. And the small twist here is we're going to go until a character would achieve 2 injuries. Obviously, I think both characters have some resistance. They should each have equal scores and equal resistances for this. And I believe it's a grand total of 2 resistance for each of them. So this could conceivably go on for a little bit. And if that turns out to be a case, we can speed things along. But Ujesa, if you would go ahead and roll me your daring plus security at a difficulty 1. And Hailong, if you would do the same.
I'm gonna just text panel the doctor just to be on standby.
Okay.
Just in case.
He is very much aware and is prepared.
Excellent.
As they're touching gloves, Matic will he's going to change the setting to Las Vegas, like title
the
card
MGM
fight
brand.
Yeah, like
Okay.
McGregor Mayweather fight turnout where thousands and thousands of people. You have like random famous people that were just auto created.
All right. Well, both combatants seem to take it in stride. There seems a show. Okay, so
Oof.
Wait,
We get like random shots of like former presidents of the Federation in the crowd.
yeah, it's great. So here's how this is going to work, because Ujesa got a success, a double success at that, and Hailong rolled a complication. I'm going to say that Ujesa gets an additional challenge die to her roll, and this is going to be her unarmed combat roll. So I believe that is for her. It's either a 5 or a 6.
It should be 1 plus your security, so I believe that's a 5.
Yeah, I think it's a 5. And since you get the additional challenge die, it would be a total of 6 challenge die.
Okay, so she got 3 effect. So, I can say she actually does the knockdown for the unarmed attack.
Okay.
So, Hailong is going to have to roll resistance to stay on her feet.
All right. I believe for that, and I could be wrong, that's just basically her rolling a, 2 challenge die? More challenge die?
How does knockdown work? 1 second.
Yeah, I'm looking it up as well. The target may resist this effect by adding a number of points to threat equal to the number of effects rolled. So she would have to add 3 threat.
Yeah, so basically, should be adding to Ujace's separate momentum pile? Like, how we're doing that?
Yeah, may I offer a suggestion?
Go for it.
So currently, I believe we have 5 momentum in the pool, right?
Mm-hmm.
Should have 6, or did we spend 1 that I missed?
Scene
I-
change. So.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
and earlier in the adventure, we did generate 1 threat, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so this would put 3 more threat into the pool.
Yeah, this would bring the total of 4.
I mean, that could be our pools, right? We could have Ujasa using momentum and Hylong using threat, because they're fairly equal. And I think the odds were that Ujasa had the advantage.
Yeah, that's
So it makes sense she has more momentum.
that I can work with. Why don't I actually reverse that? That way it'll make more sense thematically if Ujasa has the threat. That way it's Hylong adding to the threat to avoid the knockdown.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, Hylong is able to catch herself before she's knocked prone, and it is time for Hylong to do her thing. And I'm gonna double check here. The difference between Ujasa and Hylong when it comes to their unarmed attack is that Hylong has Vicious 1 on hers, but she doesn't have the knockdown quality. So,
Oh, is that the surrender victory thing?
Yeah.
That's her horns, but she has to do a charge.
Good stuff.
Yeah. In order to do her knockdown, she needs to do a charge.
So, I have a quick question.
Yes.
For melee attacks, do we only roll 1d20?
No, you roll. It's like a normal task. It's
Okay.
just at a difficulty of 1 opposed.
Okay. Because Rochelle only rolled 1d20 for...
Oh, so he did.
I used
And then
the form. That's weird.
Did you change it?
He still won the task, though.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he still
I don't know.
would have succeeded. I don't know what happened. Anyway, so Hylong, how well do you respond to this? This would be your time for your own daring plus security at a difficulty of 1. And then, of course, Ujasa rolls opposed. Okay, so we have 2 successes from Hylong. Ooh, and 3 successes from Ujasa. So I believe in this instance, the reactive character succeeds. So Hylong goes in for a right hook, but Ujasa is able to dodge out of the way. And there's a very small opportune amount of time for Ujasa to swing her own. So this again would be a daring plus security, and if you happen to succeed this roll, I'm going to say that you would again get a additional challenge die.
So is the Jason not doing damage then?
Let me double check. I have it back.
I think that's how it would normally be, but if this is special because we're boxing.
Yeah, we're boxing here. So yeah, I would say, Ujasa will just roll her challenge die, just her flat 5.
Okay, sure. Okay, so that's going to be completely nullified by the resistance.
Yep. So Ujasa kind of meekly, or not meekly, but very suddenly does a quick punch to one of Hylong's sides, but Hylong doesn't even seem to notice it at all. But if anyone's keeping track at home, Ujasa has more points at the moment. But yeah, we come to the top of the round. It is Ujasa's turn again.
Okay. So Jason's going to take a minor action to aim.
Okay.
And I'm going to spend 3 of her threat or momentum or whatever we're calling her pool.
Her threat.
To add 2 dice to the roll.
Okay.
And yeah. Ooh,
I'm guessing you're going to use the aim to reroll that complication.
I absolutely am.
All right.
Bam.
Wow. Yeah, Ujace's kicking some ass. I tell you what.
Yeah, so that is going to be 4 successes then.
Okay. The one thing I did want to say,
I guess, sorry.
That'd
go
be
ahead.
5
5
successes.
successes, yeah.
yeah. The one thing I will say though is, and if you want Hylong to ever roll like momentum, don't forget to do the momentum as needed. But even for this, you pretty much only got the 2 successes. So, go ahead and roll the challenge die, and I will flavor the results appropriately. Okay. So it's pretty much another like quick jab to the side, and again, it doesn't really seem to have any effect on Hylong. She is standing her ground like a rock, kind of a thing. And there's like a quick exchange of blows where like neither of you really gets in a good hit edgewise. It's all either blocked or sidestepped or dodged. And as we come around to Hylong's turn, is there anything in particular you'd like to do, or you just want to do the straight roll?
After Ujesa's last kind of like swing at her, she's gonna try to shove her off, kind of lower herself, and then just charge, and then do her charge.
Okay.
Do a charge on Ujesa, yeah.
All right. So of course,
Are there like foam pool noodles around her horns, or?
yeah, I would assume they would have done some appropriate safety measures to make sure that Hylong's horns are not going to gore Ujesa. Otherwise, the doctor would have not signed off on this event.
And then I'm going to spend 1 momentum to get another dice.
Okay. Wow.
All right,
Wow.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5 successes.
Wow.
Damn.
No, that's
No,
6
that's
successes.
6.
Jesus. All
That's
right.
a good roll. That's a good roll.
Ujesa, it's possible for you to win this, but it's a very small possibility.
Yeah. Nope. Nope.
So go ahead and roll the challenge die. Again, it's with an additional 2 because of the charge, so I think you're at 7.
Yeah.
And this may very well be the first injury of the match. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
So I have knockdown and vicious on it. So
Jesus. Okay.
5 effects.
Yeah, so that'd be 11 damage.
And
What? Oh,
I believe Ujesa has either 14 or 13 stress.
Yeah.
That's got to be our first. That's got to be our first injury, quote unquote, of the match.
All right. So she is going to avoid injury.
Okay.
And I forget how to do that.
I've got it here. Avoid injury. You must spend 2 threat, which I don't think you have, unfortunately.
No, she should have 5. Because like I rolled real well.
Yeah, you just did. He just did 5 successes.
Yeah.
So
Oh
yeah,
yeah, I
you
see what
should
you're saying.
have-
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
So yeah, the cost is basically 2.
Yeah.
But you would be able to avoid the injury, but you would still obviously take the stress.
Yeah, that's significant. So that was 11, yeah?
Yeah. So reduced down to 9 because of your resistance. Yeah, so Hylong's at 3 stress currently taken, and Ujesa's at a total of 9. Okay.
All right, so this is getting serious.
This is getting serious. So again, to flavor it, Hylong charges forward, and with her momentum and horns, it's almost like watching a T-Rex come forwarding and bashing a dinosaur to the side with its maw. And Ujesa is able to... Well, here's the question. Does Ujesa resist the knockdown effect or not?
There's knockdown on that as well.
Yeah, her horns
So
are
she would need
pretty
to pay
business.
5 effect or 5 threat to avoid the knockdown. Then, right?
Yep.
All right, she's knocked down.
Okay. So Ujesa is sent down to the mat, and even though like the ship itself is pretty well soundproof, you hear like half the ship go yeah. But yeah, we roll back around to Ujasa's turn.
All right. Well, minor action to get up, and
Okay.
then she's gonna go for a grapple as opposed to a straight strike.
Okay.
And I'm gonna spend 1 of a threat for an extra die,
Okay.
and let's roll that.
It's the same daring security.
Yeah, it's all of this is going to be daring security.
That's Ilong.
Oh wow. Okay.
So 3.
Well,
Yeah.
Ujesa does not make it. All right.
So Hailong, because we are boxing, you get to roll your challenge die again. Just the 5 this time, since you're not charging. And we'll see. Oh, Jesus.
Oh shit!
Jeez. I think that
Um,
puts Ujesa down. I don't think there's anything she can do to.
yeah, I think she's down for the count.
Jeez.
5.
Oh
2
my
would
God.
make it 3, so you're at 12.
Yeah, but like anything above 5 is an injury, and she doesn't have anything to. Like she already avoided injury and can't do it a second time without.
Oh, I mean, it's 5 before resistance, though.
You're forgetting the
Yeah.
vicious one, though.
The vicious is only on the horns. That's what you said.
Did I? I thought I said the opposite.
No.
Or is it the knockdown that's only on the horns?
Yeah, it's the knockdown that should be on the horns.
Okay. Because the horns have... Because on the sheet, the horns have knockdown and vicious.
I'll fix that later.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not trying to swing it one way or the other. So we'll say that Ujasa's... We'll say for this test, the vicious won't apply to keep things consistent. So... Yeah, that's an injury for Ujasa. And I think her stress is maxed now, yeah?
1 second. Well, if so, she would like if we're not adding the vicious, then it's gonna be reduced to 3,
Mm-hmm.
and she should still have 2 stress left.
Okay. So we're still... She's still in this.
Still in it. She's gonna weaving. She's gonna, cut me, coach, cut me. Um,
She just keeps screaming she owns New York, who doesn't even know why.
Oh dear. All right, Ujasa, you can win this. You can get back in the fight. I believe.
All right. Yeah. But it's Hailong's role now.
It is. It is. So Hailong, this is your actual attack this time. Can you do it? And do you go for another charge, or do you just do another standard type thing? Or do you maybe get cheeky and go for a tail swipe?
Hey, the GM's pet character has a bunch of cool options. Imagine that.
This will just be a straight up.
Okay.
She'll just kind of like bob up and then try to land a punch or two. I should be maxed out on momentum,
Yeah,
right?
you
Probably.
have a lot.
I'll spend 3 for 2 more dice.
Okay.
She's ready to just end it.
Okay. In before double complication. Okay, sure.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, it's 4
So that's 4?
successes. All right, Ujasa, I believe you can do it. Beat the
So
not
this is
GMPC. I believe.
Could
So can she
he's
spend?
the reactive character? Couldn't he spend threat to increase the complication range?
That is a good question.
That's something I've been wondering about the whole fight, but it's just because I have that 18 on the roll.
Yeah, but she's not gonna increase the complication range that much.
Yeah, it's quite a bit to increase the range of it.
All right.
All right, Ujasa, I believe.
So is she able to spend threat on adding extra dice for
Yeah, for this,
reactive
yeah.
things? All right, I will spend 1 threat then. and hopefully stay in the fight. Well,
Wow.
there we go.
Wow, there
Oh.
you go. So it's almost like the two fists meet in midair, and neither of you are really able to get a good amount of leverage in. But I do think, and I'm going to double check this,
I believe the active character wins out. So
compare the total momentum generated. That's the same. The loser then rolls. In the case of a tie, the active character wins. So yes, Hailong would win that since she is the active. So go ahead and roll me more challenge die here.
Another tough break for the Klingon.
It would just be the 5, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. I think that fills up Ujace's
yeah,
track.
Ujasa is done.
Yeah. So, in a surprising turn of
And she
events,
dies.
I was really rooting for Ujasa there. Hailong, it's almost like a cross counter where the fists meet, and then Hailong's glove slip past and does a hit across Ujasa's solar plexus, and it's like knocking the lights out of someone. Like Ujasa immediately just kind of crumples to the mat. And the EMH just kind of runs over and, starts counting her down. So if you've got literally anything left that Ujasa has in her bag of tricks, now would be the time.
I mean, her bag of tricks is pretty limited at this point, unfortunately. So, unless somebody's going to run in with a chair to save her, I don't think. I think this is pretty much it for her.
Survey says, sorry, no chair.
All right.
Yeah, if I rolled a 99 or 100, I was gonna say someone would run into the holodeck with a chair, and we turn this from boxing to wrestling.
Ensign
Jason
Cena.
promo.
Yeah, John
Ensign-
Cena comes in with a chair. He just starts.
Ensign Cena, back to your quarters. You're not to be seen.
Oh Jesus!
Oh no, it's Lieutenant or Ensign Rouge with the chair. What's he doing?
Oh,
Um,
I'm
I
sorry.
This
will-
is not
did
the
that.
briefcase. Money in the bank. I don't know about wrestling.
Oh, I'm sorry. I should have thought of that. That would have been an even better thing. Maybe next fight. Maybe next fight we can have that happen.
I will, Crowley will get up and look at the captain like, excuse me, I'm gonna go congratulate the winner.
Yeah. Lieutenant Dora was watching, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay, good.
Was he watching a medical bay, or would he have been in there?
He probably would have been there.
Okay.
Yeah, so pretty much when it's clear that, so Ujasa gets counted out all the way to 10, and then as Hailong's glove is raised in the victor, Dory immediately kind of slips between the ropes and goes over to 10 to Ujasa. And probably about the time that Crowley, you get to the holodeck, he's able to bring Ujasa back around, kind of a thing. But as you walk inside, both combatants stand across from one another, take off their gloves, and shake hands. And you get the sense that, looking between the two of them, that there is now a mutual level of respect. Not that there wasn't one before, but now that they've actually faced off another in combat, they kind of have more of an appreciation from one another. Like, this has gone from a professional rivalry to a more sporting one, if that makes any sense.
That's good. So am I actually able to sense Hailong's emotions?
Oh yeah, she's in the the adrenaline fueled state that one gets into during a fight or after a long run.
Alright. I will go and greet her.
So she turns and says, Commander, I knew you might be coming. You fought well, Ujasa. And Ujasa nods and says, as you did as well. And Hailong kind of hops out of the ring at this point. And she says, so, Commander, did you win your bet?
I just smile. I think everyone won.
Indeed.
I'm going to be reducing my shifts on the bridge down just to one shift. I would like for both of you to, if available and willing to attend my training regiments that I run.
Both of them share a look, and then there's a jovial kind of laugh, and they'll both say, "Of course, sir."
It'd be nice to have some extra pair of hands help with the other officers that need some pushing.
All right. So it's actually at right about now, because I imagine you guys are still at warp while this is going on. Rochelle, you're picking up something very strange on sensors. You're looking at it, and it doesn't make sense what you're seeing. It's not every day that something is caught within a warp bubble, but you're picking up what might be like an extremely faint life sign outside of the Arcadia's hull, but within the warp bubble.
Okay. Am I able to get a fix on it, or?
If you roll me a reason plus science, and the Arcadia can assist with sensors plus science, and after the Arcadia's reduction, this would be at a difficulty of 3.
Okay.
How much momentum do we have?
Oh, you've got like a ton.
Okay, so we didn't actually spend any on the fight? It
was
they had
separate
their own
pools.
individual pools?
Yeah.
Okay. So I guess scene transition.
Yeah,
probably,
scene transition. You should be
So
at
we'll say we
I
get
think
4 momentum?
4, yeah.
All right. I'm gonna spend a one for an extra die.
Okay.
Oh shit.
Okay.
I get to re-roll that because of technical expertise. So I'm gonna re-roll that 20.
Yeah, probably a good call.
The ship generated 1 success.
Yeah, so you only need to get 1 more success here. Which
That'll
you do. All right, so you indeed are able to lock on to this very faint life sign. It is more or less station keeping, as much, kind of static with the ship, right off of the main deflector array.
Am I able to recognize it or get any details?
It's humanoid-like, and you're able to establish even like a transporter pattern lock, but based on your readings, you don't know of any reason that someone should be outside of the ship. But at the same time, the life signs you're getting, none of them seem to match up on record. Like, how Bolians or like Klingons or, humans, they all have different types of life signs.
Sure.
This is something new.
Rasho to the captain.
Rosho's, well, he's on the bridge with you, so.
Oh,
Yeah.
I thought. Okay, sorry. Hey, right there. Sorry, my bad. Captain, I'm getting some very odd life sign readings coming from outside the ship, inside the warp bubble.
On screen.
She'll pop it up on the big screen.
So what you see, sort of hanging limply in space, is a humanoid life form. Her form is feminine. You see that she's got these pauldron-like protrusions above her shoulders, and has this flowing sort of skirt that starts tapered at the front and expands towards the rear. Instead of a face, she has what appears to be a helmet with a horn, quote-unquote flowing hair, and some other ornamentation that surrounds a blue faceplate. In fact,
Never want to hear the expression "instead of a face" she has.
Yeah. In fact, the more you look at her, the more you come to realize that it's not so much instead of a face as she's encased in a second sort of skin. And every so often, there's this sort of purplish bioluminescent light that peeks out from the curves of the white suit to accent her alien features. And I'm just going to give this to you if you weren't already thinking it. It's not at all dissimilar to the armor that is used by the Enthusians.
Okay.
Does this person... Sorry, I just have a question for like what I'm seeing. Does this person look comfortable in the position that they are in, like being trapped in a warp bubble in front of the ship's deflector array?
I mean, they appear to be limp in space.
Okay. I cut you off.
Yeah, Captain, with permission, I'm gonna head down to the transporter room and see if we can bring her aboard.
Nope, you cut
Sorry,
out.
you.
Do it.
All right, Rochelle will jog down to the transporter room and.
Who else
get
is
a look.
Who else is on the bridge?
I believe it is yourself, Monday, and Rochelle at the moment. I think Maddox in engineering and Crowley's with Hylong still at the holodeck.
Oh, this is after the boxing match.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah, sorry,
Monday.
That was like right after it. So
Yeah, like literally the moment it finished is when this got picked up.
Okay, Monday, you have the bridge. I'm gonna go with Rochelle.
Okay. I'll move you guys to the transporter room, which we'll say we'll use the one right here, literally right next to the holodeck.
And I'd like to call security chief, or not security chief, is he Sorrel?
Cyril? Okay.
Yeah, I'd like to call him.
So the Vulcan security officer that fills in for Ujasa during beta shift walks into the transporter room along with you all, and he says, "Sir, are we expecting a visitor?"
Do I see them walking past me?
Oh yeah, you and Hylong both would see them walk past.
Sir?
No, I want Sorrel on the bridge.
Okay, Cyril's gonna go to the bridge instead.
Yeah, in case any tactical things need to happen, I'd like him there.
Okay. So Cyril's on the bridge. Yeah.
all right, do you want me to roll for the transporter? Or?
You
How
don't,
we
but before that happens, Crowley did kind of flag you guys down maybe in the corridor.
Sir, you're coming to congratulate Hylong?
No, walk with us. There's a life form in our warp bubble.
Understood. And I go with him.
Okay. So it's literally across the hallway. And yeah, Rochelle, you step behind the console, do your thing and energize. And
Before I energize, I'm gonna
Okay.
make sure that there's nothing untoward in the pattern. Make sure like all the protocols we can have to protect ourselves, deactivate
Filter
weapons,
for
whatnot.
weapons and yeah.
Yeah.
okay. So you run the pattern through the appropriate security measures, and nothing really comes back from it. So you think it's safe to transport.
All right, energizing.
Okay. So on the transporter pad in a prone position is this alien creature, and she, now that you have scale to reference by, you're guessing she's probably close to 7 feet tall, which, if you remember, the Enthusians were really short. Like, they were like 5'4", if that.
Did we get enough scans of the Enthusians that I would have been able to rule out that this person is an Enthusian?
I'm going to say that you would need a medical tricorder to make that call.
Okay.
I sense anything?
You do not. This person is very much unconscious. And even their subconscious isn't really giving off any form of emotion.
I'm gonna tap my comm badge. Doctor to transporter room 1. Is that the one we're in?
Yeah. This is Dory. I'm on my way, sir. Should I bring anything?
Bring your tools.
Aye, sir. And there's probably about a period of about 5 minutes as Dory gets a lift up to the transporter room. And when he walks in, he says, "Sir?"
I just wanted to find out, since we were in 5 minutes, is the person in any uncomfortable, like, do they look like they're in an uncomfortable position? Like, their legs are bent back, you know how if a human falls down, our legs shouldn't be bent back into a certain position, because it hurts. Is a person bent like that all from being transported, or are they standing still while unconscious? Like, how are they?
Oh, they are just kind of sprawled across the floor.
Alright, transporter rooms typically have tricorders in them, don't they?
Yes, but not medical ones.
I just want to do a basic scan of life.
Okay. So, your tricorder readings do confirm that there is an extremely faint sign of life, but you're really not able to determine if she's like in any pain or if she's in any discomfort. It is a very bare minimum life signal kind of a thing.
Okay.
Is there a panel in here that we could access some phasers from?
Oh, yeah, I would say the transporter room would be one of the few places on the ship which would have its own phasers locked up.
All right, Rochelle will go punch whatever code he needs to and grab himself a dustbuster. Look to see if the captain wants one as well.
I probably carry one. Yes, I will. I will take one.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, they always have them on the bridge because when the Borg transport onto the bridge, they have to shoot them.
This is true.
All right.
Very true. All right, so it's about now that Dore walks in, and he takes a look at everyone and at the alien visitor, and he's like, "Huh, sir, I don't mind doing an examination here, but I would probably suggest moving this visitor to sickbay, where we have isolation fields."
I can do a site-to-site transport, sir.
Doctor, would you recommend it?
I would indeed. I'm pretty sure if she was able to withstand one transport, she can survive another.
Do you want to wait and get set up before I engage the transporter?
Beam me with her. That way we arrive at the same time. And then if any of you would like to keep track of our progress, just come on down to sickbay.
I'm just gonna look at her as like, so how does transporters work in Star Trek? Because like I know how they work most of the time, but would they try to like adjust her positioning correctly when they beam her under a bed, or would he need someone to move her?
It's inconsistent.
Yeah.
Basically, yes. If that's what we needed for the scene, Star Trek would establish Star Trek would be yes, we could do it.
Yeah.
Alright. Then I'll step back and allow for site to site.
Okay. So the alien and Lieutenant Dore get beamed to sickbay. And my question is, do any of you proceed down to sickbay with, kind of on your own, or?
Yeah, Rochelle will head down, and he's going to radio for
What?
Rouge
Actually,
and... Nope.
Rochelle, I'm going to request that you go back to the bridge and scan for any vessels or warp signatures. I want to see how she got here.
Absolutely, Captain.
All right.
So we're shooting the bridge.
I'll go with you, and then Commander Crawley, can you follow the doctor?
On it, sir.
I'd also recommend maybe sending a security team to the sickbay while our guest is here, till we know a bit more.
Absolutely.
All right. So Crowley there. We'll say Rouge will be one of the officers that comes up. All right. Now let me do some fancy zooming here so that the Twitch and recording viewers can see what's going on. All right. So we're kind of spread across two screens here, but I think I've got us in view. All right.
And I think I want to get Lieutenant Maddox in on the action. Maybe ask him to come up to his station on the bridge.
Okay.
Did she have? You said that she had the armor of the Enthusians.
Well, similar to the Enthusians, yes.
Okay. Was it bioengineered too, or has that not been able to be determined?
That hasn't been determined yet.
Okay.
So yeah, we'll say as I shift Maddox token here, you two are also going to be on the bridge. So let's deal with sickbay first. So Crowley, you arrive at the same time as Ensign Rouge at sickbay, and Ensign Rouge looks at you and says, "Sir, should I come inside with you or wait out here?"
Wait out here. We don't want to scare our new guest, but get another security officer. It's a big visitor.
Yes, sir. And he taps his combat and says, "Ensign Los, you're not doing anything in the brig. Come join me, please." And the Bajoran says, "Of course, sir, right away." And Ensign Los will join Ensign Rouge waiting outside of sickbay. But Crowley, so now that the alien has been put on the what is the operating table most of the time, Dore's had about 5 minutes or so, to get as everyone moved, to run a very basic scan of her. And he looks positively puzzled, which is a strange expression for a Denobulan.
I raise my eyebrow.
Oh, Commander. One moment. Computer, lower force field. The force field lowers, he steps back through it, and then it reactivates. And he says, well, I want you to see this. And he does that thing where they quote-unquote plug in the tricorder, or however it happens in the 24th century. And on that little console in front of you, Crowley, he begins showing you some things. And Dory says, so, best I can tell, the suit that she's wearing, it's bonded with her on a molecular level. And either the suit or her or both are kind of like biomechanical in nature. And I mean, I've only really seen this sort of thing before in the Borg. It's one of those things where they're almost like a fusion of both bioengineering and mechanical engineering.
When you say the Borg, do you mean like a hive mind? Or just
No,
in
sir.
terms of technology?
I mean more that she has almost like nanomachines in her blood, kind of a thing. Or nanites, as the Borg might have.
But not specifically Borg.
Yes, she is definitely not Borg. I can confirm that much.
Okay. Well, that's interesting. Can you wake her up at all?
Well, about that. He shows you a side-by-side comparison. This scan I took when I first arrived in the transporter room, and this is her now. And even with your very basic medical knowledge that all officers would have from the academy, you're able to tell that her life signal is slowly but surely getting stronger the longer she spends in this environment.
What's causing her recovery? Is it atmospheric? Is it just being inside of a ship and not dealing with the harshness of space?
Probably a combination of both, sir. What's really interesting, though, is this. And he, does the force field dance again and goes up to her and very gingerly kind of props her up on the side, and he points to a what looks to be almost like a plug interface port halfway up where the spine would be. And he says, I'm not 100% positive, but I think this is where the suit or her would take in nutrients and power. My best guess is that we might be able to interface the Arcadia's warp plasma with the suit, but that would probably be our chief engineer's purview.
Yes, I agree. Is there anything we can provide her right now?
I've tried giving her some stimulants and some other drugs that I thought might help, but as far as I can tell, it didn't even get past the suit.
Okay. Odd question. What about micro beaming? Just transport a small dosage into her through beaming.
I mean, while that's certainly possible, sir, I wouldn't recommend it. I mean, her biology is completely alien. I mean, she has 2 hearts and 4 lobes of the brain, not to mention a slew of other things. I would be actually a little bit hesitant about introducing something directly to her bloodstream.
Fair enough. Just as a safety precaution, I would recommend activating the EMH and have him go back and forth collecting samples. I believe he'll be passing through the force field just fine.
Oh, yes, you're right. Computer, activate the EMH. Sean Connery appears, and Sean Connery begins what Sean Connery does best.
Domestic violence?
I was thinking it, but I wasn't going to say it.
If you do any editing in this, I expect a very long just bleep right there.
I was going to say,
laughing.
He starts making martinis.
Yes, he starts making shaken, not stirred martinis, which are the worst thing in the world, by the way.
Yeah, there's a whole rant there.
I will tap my comm badge and go Crowley to Medic.
And Matic, you have literally just stepped onto the bridge at this point.
This is Matic. Go ahead.
How do you feel about me borrowing some warp plasma? We have a guest that may be able to feed off of it. Warp plasma, you said?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You want to inject someone with warp plasma?
The doctor says that it's a possible way of how they actually sustain themselves.
Is the doctor smoking something funny that I should know about that he's not sharing?
Oh, no, I'm quite sane, sir.
I'll spin around my chair. Sorry, engineer. I think you need to go help the doctor.
Yes, sir. I'll be right on that. I'll do the comm badge. Alon, come up to the bridge and take my spot. And have insert random name here. Start collecting some warp plasma. Apparently needs to go to medbay for something. I don't know.
Sir, and this is Alon who responds. Sir, wouldn't it be more prudent to simply interface with one of the existing EPS conduits that runs through sickbay?
Am I still on the three-way call right now?
Yeah, you're on a three-way call at this point.
I would just prefer to have it isolated just in case anything happens. I want to keep the ship systems separate.
Of course, sir. I'll have a container of plasma taken to the medical bay right away.
Do you know how much you might need, Commander? And I'm saying this while I'm back in the turbo lift making my way.
Right.
Let's do a bottle amount. Let's treat it like a baby.
Okay.
All right.
So, Matic, when you step out of the turbo lift and head down the hallway to your left, you see Ensign Los and Ensign Rouge, both armed and standing guard outside. And as you step past, they say, "Sir." And you join the fun that's going on in the med bay.
Do I I'm assuming I would recognize it as Enthusian armor.
It's
or
like
similar
Enthusian
to
armor. But it's one of those things where there are enough differences where this is either some form of Enthusian technology you haven't seen before, or this is something completely different.
Okay. I guess I'll walk in and just be like, did we pick up an Enthusian, Doctor?
Well, based on what scans you all were able to determine on the planet, I don't believe this is an Enthusian per se, but based on the reports I've read, I wouldn't put it past them to have engineered this individual to be like this, if that happens to be the case at all.
So are we talking possible Dr. Soon for Earth's equivalent?
She's definitely not an android. I can confirm that much.
I thought Dr. Soon did the eugenics thing.
Soon was who made Data.
There's also his ancestors.
Was not the originator of eugenics stuff, but was definitely interested in it.
Damn you, Enterprise.
Gotta tie everything together.
Oh. So yeah, Dory answers appropriately to the correct lore here.
All right. Definitely meant whoever did the eugenics, whatever doctor was in charge of that.
Oh yeah, he'll say,
caused that issue.
If that's the case, again, it's very hard to tell if this is her natural form and state, or if this is, the product of some sort of engineering.
is there anything that stands out about it, Doctor?
Well, I'll tell you what I told the commander here, and he reiterates pretty much all the major bullet points from before, so you're filled in.
I kind of go along the same lines that Crowley did earlier of just the whole nanites. You mean like the Borg nanites, and then we just had that whole conversation again?
Yeah, kind of a thing. Yeah. But by the time the conversation stops, a runner with warp plasma has stepped in, handed Matic the container full of plasma, and excused themselves, unless you wanted to keep them around for whatever reason.
I'll just tell. I got like what, maybe like a 2-liter bottle on my hands, maybe.
Yeah, that's about the size of the standard containers they use.
All right. I'll just tell. I'll just tell the random crewman, whatever his name is. Go ahead and start getting maybe like a case of like 6 of them done, just in case we do need more. Also, I can't think of anything else that really needs to be done. Would I have my engineering toolkit on me?
I would assume so, yes.
Okay.
And if not, it would have come with the runner.
Okay. So once I send him back off, I'm actually going to walk up and I'm going to kind of open up my toolkit and be like, Doctor, if you don't mind, I would like to take some engineering scans and compare them. Hopefully, I could try to figure out a little bit more.
Of course. And before we get to those scans, I do want to cut back to the bridge. So on the bridge, obviously, it has become a flurry of activity. I would think probably if you hadn't checked already or were about to do so, you're trying to determine where the hell this person might have come from.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
Rochelle, I want you to roll me another sensor check at the same difficulty. And again, the ship can assist on this.
Well, what was this difficulty? It's been a while.
The difficulty was 3.
Okay. Oh, would you like to use momentum?
I believe so, yes.
So that puts us down to 2?
Yes.
I believe so, yes.
All right.
All right, there's 3 successes. Can the ship successfully aid? No.
Nope.
Okay.
Okay. So the only warp signature you're detecting is the Arcadia's. Everything within this sector, like there's not another soul in the sector, not even an inhabited world kind of a thing. Based on the sensor scans you're reading, this alien visitor might have just been adrift for quite some time. But, like a definite amount, you're not sure.
What is our relative position to the subspace eddy we saw as it was forming?
I would say by now it is behind you about 2 light years distance. Maybe more than that. I might be getting my warp speeds mixed up.
So, my hypothesis is that, no idea if this is true, is that eddy is somehow linked to or related to her appearance here. I'm curious of this. And so is it possible that, because didn't you mentioned the way they use warp was by moving into subspace?
That's how most traditional vessels do warp travel, yeah.
Yeah.
So, are we able to? I mean, obviously, Astrometrics can still scan that eddy if it still exists.
By now, it's formed completely into an eddy, yeah.
Okay. So if we can get some scans on that, and I'd also like to do some internal scans of sickbay to see if I can figure out like any, if our visitor has any specific radiation or particles coming off of it that are kind of odd that might give a clue as to, how we could track down some more information.
Sure.
Okay.
I'd like to assist you. I do have the focus in subspace communication, which is a little different, but a lot
Let
of
me
the
check your
physics
focuses
apply.
here.
Yeah, my only applicable stuff would be scanners still,
Let's see.
or sensor operations.
I'll allow sensor operations here, and for the captain, I'm gonna say you can assist if you do team dynamics,
Okay.
but you would have to do a command roll type thing. So
Uh,
the show, it would still be reason plus science for you.
Beauty.
For the captain, it would be reason plus command for you.
Okay, that's actually a great roll, and Rochelle will be able to re-roll 1d20 because I'm assisting with command.
Okay,
Nice.
and this is going to be what I believe is our first difficulty 5 task.
Oof.
Which attribute did I was using? Reason?
Reason, yes.
Okay.
Okay, so we still have 2 momentum, so I'm gonna grab 1 extra die at least.
Could we
You
create
wanna-
an advantage here?
We could.
And use both of our momentum.
We could also contribute to the threat pool to get some extra dice if we wanted.
You could.
So wait, what's our specific task right now? That we're
So
rolling
this
for.
specific task is, as Rochelle said, is scanning the individual and seeing if it's picking up a specific type of radiation.
Yeah,
Okay.
and any kind of clue that the scanners can pick up on that we might be able to use to narrow down her origins. Also, have we come to a stop, or are we still trucking along?
That's a good question. Have you, Captain, have you called for stop, or are you still going?
I've called for a stop.
Okay, so you're at station keeping.
Okay.
My idea is that we use the advantage thing, watch the creation of the SETI, and use that as our advantage to reduce the difficulty to 4.
I'll allow it. Why not?
So that's 2 momentum now.
Mhm.
Yeah, so we'd be down to 0.
But the difficulty would only be a 4.
Okay,
And then we
so-
could still use threat to buy dice, if that's
Yep.
something you want to
Yes. Okay, so let's use 1 threat to buy dice then.
Okay.
do. Okay.
So 1 threat is not too egregious, I don't think.
No.
Or, I mean, the other option is...
And the ship is also going to
determination.
assist here.
Yeah.
I mean, I've got fascination with the unknown, but I believe you'd be leading this task.
Right. Yeah, I just have my fairly generic values, which could probably be useful. Yeah, I don't know. We'll just add to the threat to gain 1 extra die.
Okay.
All right.
So we're going to have 5 dice total.
5 dice,
Between-
and I believe 2 rerolls between my technical expertise and the captain's
Advisor.
advisor. So hopefully we can make some work with that.
Yeah.
All right, so that's 2.
Mhm.
Let's see if we get any complications before we're doing the reroll.
All right, no complication. And then sensor science for the ship.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, so that's 3. So I'm going to reroll the 17 and the 15 that I got, and see about getting that extra 1.
Okay.
I'll roll 2d20.
Okay.
Or I guess that's probably gonna add them together, isn't it?
It will, but we'll see the roll.
All right.
It'll separate it for us. Yeah, an 18
No,
and a
that's
19.
real bad.
So wait, we still have 3 successes total, right? We need
Yes,
one
we
more. All right. Could I use my determination, fascination with the unknown, to re-roll my single die?
I would allow it. Yes.
All right, I will do that then. So slash roll 1d20. No, that's even worse.
we didn't stop rolling. It just gets worse.
I was to say, you guys used all of your luck with the fight. I mean,
I I still have a determination. I could re-roll. You know,
I love how Roll20 thinks that was a great thing to give me, and it made it green.
Yeah, it's like congratulations on your critical failure.
No!
Now you have a complication. Da-da-da.
All hands abandoned ship.
Oh,
No, not again.
So, do we feel that this is? Do we want to keep on throwing good resources after bad? I guess, and I could spend a determination reroll as well.
Yeah, you could. I mean, how many dice did you have that weren't succeeding?
I had one die that didn't succeed. So there are 2 dice that didn't succeed. Wait, how does?
Yeah, I mean, that gives us
I
a
had one
pretty
die
good
that didn't
shot.
succeed. So
That gives us a pretty good shot of succeeding, but we'll have to live through my complication.
yeah. Yeah, I only had the one die that I would need to reroll.
Hey, it's another
Although-
shot. That's all you need.
Yeah, there's also the option of if I was to reroll everything, because it's also the option of getting under my focus. So yeah, might as well. All right, yeah. So eager to prove himself. Is that gonna apply?
Yeah, I'll allow it.
All right, cool. So I'm gonna reroll all 3 dice then, just
Okay.
to see what happens. Because
Watch this get worse.
yeah, just so many complications.
Oh, yeah.
There we go.
Hey, very nice.
All right.
1, 2, 3, 4 successes.
Huzzah! Yeah. So that's 4 plus the ship's 1, so that's going to gain us 1 more momentum,
Yep.
Okay.
and just took everything we had.
Yep. So it's actually a good thing that you did so.
Nope, and
it's
I'm gonna roll-
go ahead.
The challenge die for.
Oh yeah,
having spent the momentum.
for the whole untapped potential. Yeah.
Yeah, let's see how that goes. Okay,
Yeah.
and that one.
You young whippersnappers.
All right.
And also, using the sensors, I will get to ask an extra question from the extra momentum generated. So, sorry,
Okay.
go ahead, GM.
Yeah. Let me tell you what you
I
got,
don't
and then
think
you
my
can ask.
studious also applies, does it?
I'm gonna say no because you weren't the one who spent the momentum.
Fair enough.
So, Rochelle, with the captain helping you, you begin taking scans and comparing them to what's on hand in the database. It's a good thing the captain's there, because when the computer does return a match, it immediately asks for level 10 clearance. And level 10 clearance is captain's eyes only.
Sir, and Rochelle will gesture to the screen and take a step back just in case he needs to turn his eyes.
Yeah, I put my code in.
Okay, so the code's accepted, and you are greeted with the sensor readout and comparison. And I mean, this is fantastical, because if this is correct, then the same radiation signature, the very lingering trace of it that this individual in sickbay has on them, they've come through the galactic barrier, like the energy field that surrounds the Milky Way, the very same barrier that the original USS Enterprise once traveled through.
Is that the one that like made people into gods?
It increased their Esper level. Yeah,
Yeah.
Okay.
I just rewatched that episode recently. Yeah, they could do everything pretty much. They had a lot of those episodes in TOS.
Oh yeah, ton of episodes like that.
All right. And so I know that she's come through the galactic barrier and is quite dangerous to us if she's not in a good mood.
Possibly. All you know
Sorry,
is that
it's been a while since I've seen that episode.
Yeah,
Can we get a reading on her Esper level? I just rewatched that episode like last week.
yeah. The Esper level. She's definitely not like a secret telepath that's gonna blow up your ship. She is not a 40k psyker.
Huzzah!
Aww.
So
I don't know
so
what that
yeah,
means,
like,
but I'm gonna guess it's good.
like Risho, like you'll hear me ask, can we start monitoring our? This will be like your clue to what's going on. I'll ask to start monitoring her Esper level.
Okay.
Yes, absolutely, Captain. I'll do that. And obviously, this is not something that's going to come up a lot, I think, because I don't know if it's ever mentioned in any other episode afterwards. But yeah, I will start monitoring that.
So I have a question for the GM. Why would this be Captain's Eyes only? Is there something I'm missing here?
So it's basically a combination of my understanding of readings beyond the galactic barrier are either from ships that have gone wayward and been lost with all crew, or it's, and I might be getting my timelines mixed up here. There's certain entities which exist outside the galaxy that would very much like to get back into the galaxy. And it's one of those things where it's like the Genesis planet to Starfleet. Like, they are very anal about who knows this information and who doesn't. Like, the Genesis project is Captain's Eye, is not even Captain's Eyes only. Like, it's not even some admirals can read the Genesis project stuff.
Right, that makes sense.
It's also kind of like the Omega Directive. Like, captains would know of the Omega Directive, but normal crewmen would not. So and again, someone can feel free to correct me on this, but I would say anything related to the galactic barrier is probably very high up in security level.
Okay.
But now that you've seen it, you as the captain can certainly make the call whether or not to bring in your crew into the loop.
So the galactic barrier itself is a secret?
It's not so much a secret as in the sensor readings from ships that have gone beyond it or ships that have come in from the other side of it have been kept a secret.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I will then let Ensign Richaud in on what's happening.
Okay. So Richaud, you get the Cliff Notes version of everything we just discussed.
Okay.
Which is great because as a player, you remember more about this than I do.
All right. So I guess would the captain be able to allow Richaud to access any sort of records that are available so he can start doing some research? Or...
Yeah. With the captain's security code, you could certainly begin some research into this matter.
Okay. And so were we able to determine if the subspace eddy that we're monitoring has that same kind of radiation signature as the... Because we're nowhere near the galactic barrier, right?
Oh, no.
Yeah.
I'll say this before you do your question, because you still have your question that you can ask. Mm-hmm. Part of that test, or that task, was determining that the eddy had no relation to this whatsoever. It's just an eddy.
Just an eddy. All right. Okay. Through further scans, this will be my question. Was Richaud able to determine how long this person, like, did she just appear and he noticed her right away, or was she, pacing the ship for a while and it took a while for her to show up on scans for whatever reason?
I would say it's more like the latter, and that your warp bubble more or less picked her up somewhere around 6 hours ago. So right about the time you would have started your shift.
Oof, okay. Okay. I don't know what to do with that information now that I've asked it.
Well, I'll give you some time to think. We're going to go back to sickbay. So yeah, Matic, at this point, you've been able to take some engineering style scans, and as before, you immediately pick up on her biomechanical nature, and you confirm Dory's suspicion that the port located upon her back would be able to receive either energy directly or a infusion of plasma to power the suit.
Okay. Hmm. Is there anything that I guess stands out to me as in like am I able to cross-reference this as being technology similar to something else, or is this? Because I'm assuming we don't know about it's from the other side yet.
Yeah, that fact has not been communicated to those of you in sickbay.
Okay.
Really, the closest thing that you personally would be thinking of is the Enthusians. But again, your readings compared to those you took of the Enthusians' technology, if the Enthusians were people, like in human timeline, they are cavemen compared to this person, which this person is like present day in Star Trek times. So, like a millennia, like multiple millennia ahead kind of a thing.
Okay.
But part of that, I will say, is because Starfleet as a whole kind of doesn't do bioengineering because of the whole eugenics thing. So that might just be your Federation bias that's telling you that.
Is there a way I can pull out some of the nanotech that's inside of her, I guess, blood,
Mm-hmm.
and run scans on it, trying to find like, do they self-replicate? Is there a finite number of them? Just trying to figure out more about the nanites before, we go waking her up and finding out, oh, hey, it's, the Borg.
I gotcha. Roll me a reason plus engineering. Difficulty on this is going to be 3.
How much momentum do we have?
We have 1.
All right. Y'all mind if I spend it?
Nope.
Go for it.
All right. So I'll spend it to get the third dice. Alien engineering technology, I'm assuming, would apply.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Everyone pray for me.
Can I assist him at all with my advisor?
Oh, if you've got advisor too, you certainly can.
Sweet.
It would be a reason plus command for you.
Yeah. Oh, my reason's weak, but my command's okay. It's just 1d20?
Mm-hmm.
And wonder what would apply to this. I know focuses don't apply to this because it's an assist. Yeah. Nope.
Nope.
At least it's not a complication.
Yeah, that's the key thing. Well, unless you want to spend determination.
Yeah. Understand technology better than people.
I'll allow it.
All right. So yeah, I'll just spend that determination to get the. Do I re-roll or do I get the successes?
So
Or
if
do
you
I
wanted to do the 2 successes, you got to do it before the roll. So you
Oh,
would
okay,
be able
so-
to re-roll the die.
I guess I'll just re-roll the 19 I got.
But with advisor, you get 1 reroll for free.
Yeah, I was gonna say. So before you spend your determination, do the advisor re-roll first.
Okay.
Yeah,
so I'll do that then.
Yeah, re-roll the 19, and maybe that'll get you a better result. It does.
It does.
So, good news, bad news. Good news, you don't think anyone is at risk in that if these bits of nano machine tech get exposed to anyone, you're not going to suddenly have a breakout of Borg technology on the ship. They seem to be specifically designed for this individual in particular. In fact, when you remove them from her body and store them in a sample container, they slowly begin to power down and otherwise become inactive. The bad news here is that that limits the amount of information you can get about them. It kind of, you are just able to make the determination that they're not have harmed anyone, but before you can determine, is this something that's naturally occurring in her bloodstream, if this is something from the suit, or something else entirely, you're just not sure.
I guess I'll. Is there a way for me to I guess not a transponder, but like mark these as like I want to watch what these specifically do and then put them back into her?
I'm gonna say you could do that, but Dore would advise against trying to put something back into her bloodstream.
Okay. Even if it's just the same sample I just pulled out?
Yeah, like he is very hesitant about putting stuff in her at this point.
Okay. Uh, I guess I'll share with the group. Commander, Doctor, the scan of the nanites themselves, uh, looks like they're designed specifically to work only on her. Um, so I guess we could start trying to wake her up or start trying to get her to come around. As far as I can tell, we're not gonna she's not gonna try to assimilate us or anything like that.
All right, good to know. Doctor, do you want to try and feed her warp plasma?
I can certainly try, sure. Matic, if you would assist me, please.
Give me 1 second.
Sure.
And then I'm gonna walk out to one of the either Rouge or Los
Mm-hmm.
and get one of their phasers and then just kind of like tuck it in the small of my back just
Okay.
just in case.
Just in case. Okay.
Commander Crowley.
Oh, go ahead.
Commander Crowley to Captain.
Yes.
We're attempting to resuscitate the visitor. We're going to be attempting to feed her some warp plasma.
Have we established that she doesn't have a high esper rating yet?
I would say at this point that she is, again, not a threat like someone with a high esper rating would. It's
Right,
it's one of those things where it's a very quote-unquote human normal esper level.
Okay. I'll tell him that he can proceed.
Thank you, sir. And yeah, I just get closer to the force field, and I wait.
Okay.
I guess real quick, does she have more blood cells or does she have more nanites?
It seems to be an even mix.
Okay.
So, like, for every one normal blood cell for her, there's probably one or two bits of this nanotech. So,
Okay.
if
And,
you haven't
like,
gotten it
her-
already, she is engineered to hell and back.
And like her white blood cells, her equivalent of white blood cells aren't like fighting them, right?
No.
Okay.
But yeah, we'll say Matic and Dore will work together to interface or try to create an interface between the alien suit and the canister of warp plasma. And you set everything up pretty well, and you begin to transfer from the container to the suit. And Crowley, since you're still outside the force field, you would have a good look at the readout console next to you, and you see that as the plasma feeds into the suit, you see that was what was once an almost comatose like state. The alien's life signs begin to strengthen, and the two hearts begin beating more powerfully. There's more circulation to her blood. There's more activity in the brain, and right as probably Dore like leans over her to get more of a detailed scan of what's going on, she bolts upright on the table, and it's sudden enough that I'm going to say that probably all three of you are a little bit kind of spooked by this. She just kind of sits up, bolt upright, and after a moment, she starts to look around. Go ahead.
Matic definitely shoves his hand into his back and keeps a very firm grip on the phaser.
Mhm.
He's keeping his eyes on Crowley, waiting for him to give like some sort of signal to just put her down.
Okay.
I gesture with my hand for them to both move back. And I just say, computer, lower force field.
All right, force shield goes down.
And I walk forward with my hands up. I was like, hello? You're on the ship, the Arcadia? My name is Commander Crowley. We mean you no harm. We're attempting to help you and heal you.
So, as you say this, her gaze immediately locks towards you, so the helmet kind of turns to look at you. And she doesn't move until you finish speaking, but when you come to a stop, she kind of raises her hands in the same gesture, but doesn't say or do anything besides that.
Do I feel anything?
You feel a sense of confusion.
Alright. I tilt my head to the side.
She does similarly.
I tilt my head to the other side.
Same thing.
I slowly lower my hands.
Yep.
Do you have a translator? Something that allows you to understand my language?
Silence.
I start talking to her. Just saying different things. Like a very like a typical greeting and everything like that. Just trying to build up her translator if she has one.
Okay. So Matic, you would know at this point that, after Crowley does his thing for about 5 minutes, you would know that even your universal translator would have been able to pick something up by now.
I'm keeping my hand on the phaser, and I've probably scooted around to where the doctor is probably just behind me, to where it's kind of he's like out of the way, and I could like if she charges, keep doctor safe.
Mhm.
I'm just gonna kind of look kind of like back, keep my eyes on her and Crowley, and I'm just gonna say over my shoulder to him like, does her brain scans of her brain, do they show any sort of intelligence, or has
So,
the engineering possibly affected stuff?
so Crowley, based on your position, what you saw before you stepped forward, and you're also going to sense this on some instinctual level, being part Betazoid. There is a profound intelligence with this being. But at the same time, you would think she'd either say something at this point or would be able to discern what's going on.
Okay. I want to reach for a pad
Mm-hmm.
and I just hold it up to her, pointing to the picture of her, and like motion back and forth, and I show her the scans of her originally when she got aboard the ship and how weak she was, and I'm showing her the current scans now.
Okay, so she kind of tilts her head to the side as you assume she looks at it, but again, doesn't say anything.
All right. Yeah, I just. So, let's see. I can't do a mind meld because I don't have that. I will give her the pad though, and like move it to it's a blank spot, and just give it to her and see if she tries anything with it.
Okay. She looks at the pad and, holds it in her hands, and she taps at it a little bit, and nothing happens for a moment. But then you see that the suit, like the fingers of her suit, begin to glow just a little bit with that same bioluminescent light. And immediately the pad begins to flash through information. And it's almost like on TNG, whenever Data reads something on the computer, it is at such a speed that it is inhuman. And you're seeing this pad flicker through pretty much everything that had been on it. And since that is a medical pad, unless you wanted to have one of your own, it is a ton of medical information that has been delivered to her.
Oh no! I was in medical bells and sick bay earlier today. Oh no! As she's watched, as I'm watching this, dude, I look for another pad. I want to clear it and get the say computer download Universal Translator program into this pad.
So actually, as you go to do that, the display on the pad of hers stops on a reading of you, Crowley, since you were here earlier. So she shows you the pad so you can see it, and with her other hand she points to it, and she says, finally, in a voice that is both slightly modulated and also somewhat deeper than normal, like a normal female would have, she says, Crowley, and she points at you.
Yes, I am Crowley.
And then she points at herself, and she says, who am I? And that's where we're going to call the session.
Ooh, first contact!
So that was really good, guys. I think we got a lot of cool stuff done. Definitely stick around, though. But for those of you watching the stream, thanks for watching, and I will see you guys next week. All right.